here so I can
Oh
log
yeah,
it?
absolutely. I shall send you a link. In the
Oh, I
meantime,
can watch us as
welcome.
I'm recording? I've
Yeah,
never done
you
anything like
can.
this before.
You absolutely can. You can watch yourself as you're talking about yourself. All right, I'll send you that link, Skeeter. Welcome to the stream, everyone
Hi
watching
guys.
this.
Hello.
Sorry for the delay. Everyone's dead. We're trying to fix that. We've brought in some temps. We've got Skeeter the Lurker here. There we go, with his fantastic beard. We've also got Aquaman of Horsewood fame.
More
So,
fantastic beard.
also
Just don't
fantastic.
know.
It is a pretty good beard. Very nicely trimmed.
So yeah, they're going to be the new Seattle Angels. Look for their reviews in roughly 1 week's time. In the meantime, welcome to the stream. We sometimes talk about horse words and stuff.
What are horse words?
I don't know what those are.
Other words shaped like horses.
It's
they
like,
are?
I'm
it's
quite
like
good at them.
fan fiction with alphabety spaghetti, basically. Except horse-shaped alphabety spaghetti. So, I've seen. There's some of that at local store anyway. Anyway, C squared. You were on the last round of things. You should probably talk about them briefly.
Should I guess? So story number 1 is The White Horse by Karabas. If you don't know who Karabas is at this point, you haven't been following contests because he's finished top 3 in both Outside Insight and Most Dangerous Game 2. So he's good. He knows what he's doing.
He's
and this
pretty
story is shortly after Luna gets banished, an analog for the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, or in this case, 4 Warlords, meet up to divvy up Equestria because they see this as an opportunity to take over.
I mean, technically they are horsemen, so
Well, I mean,
you know, it still counts.
sure, but that's the analog there, though. It was a nice little touch in a pretty dark story, and the ending. Well, there are spoilers, and it was pretty awesome. So you should just go read it.
That's fairly solid. Why? What is it that's so awesome about it? Right.
It offers a very interesting characterization for a character.
Okay.
I can't remember if the character is tagged or not, so I'm trying to avoid. Right. Check that out.
Okay, but there is a character in it who is done particularly well then. The characterization.
Yes, and yes.
All right, that's fair enough.
The only problem is that Sombra is present, which, if you are familiar with canon, Sombra was banished by both Celestia and Luna, but Sombra's here and Luna's gone, so you know, if you can forgive that mistake.
They rewrote
If it's a good read, then
places.
If you can forgive that mistake, then you're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really 1,000 years. It was like 100 and change. So,
yeah,
close.
Story number 2.
Yeah.
Story number 2 is from Outside Insight. It's We Who With Songs Beguile by Logan Berry. It's about birds.
Yeah.
And a particular, I think cynical is probably the best word. Cynical bird, blue jay. His name is Mazarine, and he talks about ponies. And well, he doesn't like them very much.
No, he's fairly cynical. He's also fairly full of himself, which is,
yes,
if I remember rightly. It has been a while since I've read.
He is very full of himself. He's very upset that when he doesn't get parts or when he gets kicked out, he thinks he's better than everyone.
Are we talking about that one person who styles himself after the nostalgia critic?
No, we're talking about the second story. It's all about the bird.
The bird.
I misunderstood that.
He's kind of like a crotchety old man.
Yeah.
I think might be a good way to put it. And the thing I really liked about this story is that the bird's perspective, was very consistent, and it seemed like he was almost right, even though like we have full context of the show, we know where the ponies are coming from. His side of the story was very convincing, and I thought that was very well done. Story number 3.
I remember enjoying that one quite a bit. Yeah.
Story number 3 is a personal favorite of mine. It's Of Dragons and Horse, Songs and Solace by 8686. It is the prequel to Eclipse, which we featured like 15 rounds ago or something. And it features a side character in that story who I thought was the greatest thing that ever existed, King Ragnarok, King of the Dragons. And
always fun to find new Dragon Kings.
I have a hard time talking about this story without just like gushing endlessly. So
Nothing wrong with that.
It's
King
fair to say
Ragnarok
that
was the greatest thing. Story about Ragnarok. I'm just like all sorts of happy.
Mm. It's fair to
Does a
say that
great job of
8686 is a really solid author, isn't he? We've featured him. I don't know how many
criminally
times.
I'm trying to. I'm sure I've read something by him, and I'm blanking on. I'm blanking on everything right now. I've been playing Sevens all day, so I'm sunburned and exhausted, and
Oh Jesus!
I don't know who any of you people
Sevens.
are.
I don't know
Why
who you
would
are.
you
So
do that to yourself?
I don't know where I am.
we brought him in off the street, so no big deal.
Mm.
But it does a great job of establishing Celestia and Ragnarok's relationship and how they came to be, as Ragnarok calls them, enemies.
Mm.
Ragnarok has a very unique way of putting things, and it gives him a lot of character, I think. Very well done, I thought.
Allow me to interrupt. Did we tell the chat that there's a stream going on?
Oh, I don't think we did tell the chat it's up. Someone should put that in the title.
I got it.
I would try and do that, but
C squared is a bot, yes. Right, what's the last one then?
The last one is also about dragons. It's called They Call Me Flightless Fury by Argon Matrix. Fun fact, I think his name is Reverb Brony. He made a song about this story. It's pretty cool. I listened to it. The story is about crotchety old dragon. Dash apparently stole something from him, I think is what happens. I'm not sure. It's not particularly important, but Dash is out there flying away. And this dragon is very upset. And he's like the old expert when some young upstart comes in and starts doing a bunch of flashy stuff. And he just looks at him and goes, no, 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 no. You are all flash and no substance. Here, let me show you how it's done. And that's his whole attitude on, well, flying, really. And that he views Dash as the upstart, and he's off to show her what flying is all about. And on top of that, he's kind of an evil jerk, so...
That's,
it's very short for what it is. It's like only 1,000 words, and the character of the dragon, Flightless Fury, just oozes off the page. Like I think that's the best way to put it. It just oozes.
Interesting.
And that was story number 4.
That's fair enough. That sounds like a pretty interesting set. I'm probably going to have to check out a few of them.
Indeed.
Aye, but fair enough. In other news, the World Building Alliance first competition reboots happened. That was a thing. At least, actually, it finished a while ago, but we only finally got around to finishing that off. So expect plenty more World Building Alliance stories to be popping up in the rounds again.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to it. I have a few marked already. Waiting.
There were some really good ones. Both Norse Ponies and Fan of Most Everything stories were really quite spectacular.
Norse is a good writer, though.
Norse is a
real
good
writer.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Aurora Borealis's, but it just didn't quite fit the contest.
Yeah, it's true enough that you often need to strike a balance between writing just a good story in itself and kind of often sacrificing a bit to make it go to the standards of the competition. Ideally, you want a competition story that becomes a good story in its own right, but you can't always do that. So,
and that's usually how you win.
Yeah, that's usually how you win. Ah, dear. But we haven't been talking about our guests that much, have we? We've had Skeeter on before, haven't we, with his fantastic beard. Aquaman, this is his first time, so we are popping his podcast cherry. For those who do not know, yes, could you introduce yourself, please?
Okay. I am Aquaman, as has been said, I believe, a few times. I've been writing horse fic for some time, as I believe it's sometimes called. I don't know what happened to my left hand. I blacked out and woke up here, and there was a computer in front of me. In my past life, whenever that did happen, I'm not sure how long ago it was, I occasionally also did some follow-ups for Equestria Daily, following a few episodes. I've done one this season for the Troubleshoes episode, which, again, the name is escaping me because I have 3 brain cells left, and all of them are red and burned. But I have fun with it, and I'm happy to be here for whoever.
I mean, you did spend some time in southern England, so 3 brain cells left is quite a collection.
It brings up the average quite a bit.
Very true. Oh dear. And you are, of course, a huge fan of rugby from all the posts I've seen you, as well as FIFA. So
I am,
three
yes.
three brain cells again is well above average in that. So
More for the FIFA than the
uh,
rugby. Rugby players are
eh.
nice, gentle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're absolutely gentle, and when they give you a hug, you kind of feel like you're about to die most of the time.
And that usually
Dear.
means they want you to drink something that may make you literally die.
No issues with that.
Yeah, I just realised I've pissed off roughly 3/4 of England. Yeah, fantastic. At least I'm mostly insulting Cornwall, and nobody gives a fuck about them.
Nice.
But yeah, you are in the horsefic world. You are most famous probably for your EQD stuff, but also possibly for your big crossover, as well as a number of competition-winning stuff. So, what fics have you written then, Mr. Aqua?
I'm going to start with the contest writing stuff because I like to deviate talk away from Harmony whenever possible. So, contest history. First one that I did when I started doing the whole contest circuit, Far From the Tree for the first Most Dangerous Game contest. Placed second with that one.
Mm-hmm.
It was real interesting. It was kind of an idea I'd had for a while. I had an excuse to finally get it out. Changed forms a lot. I think it was originally about Sweetie Belle and Rarity, and somewhere in the midst of planning the whole thing, I think the entire cast of characters changed. Because I think it was also at one point going to be Rumble, because don't tell anyone that's my thing. He's such
Just
a great
got the
character
Mad
because he
Hatter
had
in the
like 2
background
lines in the
screaming,
show, so I can make him be
"Change
whoever I
places."
want him to be, and no one cares. But yeah, I ended up making it work for the contest. It was a bit difficult to get out, but what was more difficult to get out was what won Outside Insight, which was I Am Demon. Definitely the hardest thing I've ever attempted to do. Very outside of my normal style. Very outside of really anybody's normal style, I guess, considering what I did with colors in particular, which
True.
wasn't as popular with everybody as it was with the judges, but the judges were the ones judging the contest, so,
I would believe
someone
the judges
called
are
you
in
out
here
for
right now.
plagiarism,
So.
I believe,
Yeah.
on that story.
And then most...
Oh yeah,
What was it?
someone called you out for plagiarism of the white box or whatever it was.
Oh, that's when I go to that page like every week in case I need to feel good about myself. It's the funniest thing. I love it to death. And I'm being completely sincere. It's hysterical.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who looks at this stuff and just laughs.
Yeah, well, it doubly so because Chromosome and I used to be, before he left the fandom and kind of moved on, I considered us to be pretty good friends, and I was always not very subtle about my admiration for White Box. So, being, told I was plagiarizing it, there was a part of me that was, of course, like, no, how dare you? Why would you say something like that? And then the other part of me is going, yeah, kinda. A little bit.
Just a tad.
It was inspiration, Oh, and then contest. Yeah, most recently was Plural Possessive, which was entirely a joke. I think it was... Every good contest idea I ever have is based around the idea of me being able to do something that completely defeats the purpose of the contest. So, like, for Far From the Tree, the thing that made me interested in it is like, all right, I can do a shipping story that's not about the person being shipped. It's about everything surrounding it. So that's cool. That completely defeats the purpose. I love it. Let's do it. I Am Demon was just defeated the purpose of everything imaginable. That was just a weird one. And then Plural Possessive was, again, me trying to bend the rules, saying, all right, so they're reincarnated, or a villain in the past tense prompt had to be reincarnated as a younger form, but didn't say they couldn't be reincarnated into somebody that already existed. So, Dinky was somebody I could just kind of do whatever I wanted with, and I did do whatever I wanted with it, and I'm really shocked I actually managed to get it in under 15,000 words in before the deadline, because there was this cool thing I got to do where I was posting a chapter a day, and it all looked very planned out and very organized, and the not very well-kept secret was that I was literally writing a chapter a day, and I didn't really know how it was going to end as I was writing. I had like a vague idea of what I wanted to end up at, and that's probably why the last chapter is a little bit rushed, because I realized I had 2,000 words to wrap up everything. And I think it worked out alright. That's not as much.
That's the best way to do things.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun to write viewed story. I think at some point for about a day. It was #1 on the site, which was something I never expected to get near. So
wow.
the fact that it happened at all was awesome.
Yeah. Also, writing every single day, Aquaman is now confirmed for short skirts.
Oh no, that was installed.
Yeah.
I did that
But
for
yeah.
a week, and then I didn't do anything for about 3 months. That was fun. I've been working on the same project for about a year and a couple months now.
I thought Short Skirts was the guy
I've been sort of
never stopped writing.
No, he's a sentient voice processor.
He's 6 different people. I refuse to believe one person owns an account.
Oh, he owns like 6 accounts.
Well, they write in shifts. Yeah. They write in shifts. They just take it in turns. One person's off drinking Dr. Pepper to one side. The other one's partying with Disney princesses, and the next one's just spending the day all writing. And
it might be kind of like a Dr. Manhattan thing. He's just like a kangaroo glowing blue, standing naked, and one of them's disappointing his girlfriend while the others work on important projects. That's basically Watchmen, right? That was the entire plot.
Bloody
I think so.
But I noticed you have been dancing around that one story that you mentioned earlier that you weren't wanting to talk about. So, what is Harmony, and why are you trying to dance around it?
Harmony, and I'm not sure what verb tense to use, is or was. Let's go with is, because I haven't officially given up on it, and I'll explain why I'm phrasing it like that in a minute. Harmony was a massive, I guess, adaptation of BioShock, the video game, for the world of Equestria and the show and everything. It was something that I started, I think, near the end of my senior year in high school. I was a huge fan of the BioShock games, up to that point, both of them, because BioShock 2 gets an unfairly bad rap. It wasn't a terrible game, it just wasn't as good as the first one. But I did really like the universe, and after having read Fallout Equestria, at some point, I think I read most of it, I was intrigued by the idea of trying to do something that was like mixed two canons that were completely polar opposites. So trying to figure out some way to make this kind of general idea work with something that really didn't resemble it in any way. So I spent a couple months outlining, a couple months setting everything up. I do still know where everything was going. I still have the outline somewhere. I guess the reason I keep dancing around is because I ended up kind of moving on from it, and not completely. It's one of those things of like I've 90% done with, and it's kind of like a weird, like mostly good relationship that you've since broken up with. It's like you don't regret breaking up. You've moved on. You've done other cool things with your life, but then every once in a while you lie awake at night and wonder exactly how many more drugged up horses could I have killed if I had stayed with it.
I know exactly how
it would have been such an opportunity.
Believe me, I know exactly.
Yeah, so I have not fully quit on it. It's one of those things that the future is yet to be determined. So I hate speaking with any conclusive air about it because every time I think I've made a decision, I go back on it a week later. So I guess once I finish my current project, which hopefully hope to God will be by the end of the summer, I'll have to consider what I want to do in general after that, whether I want to move on. As far as writing long-form stuff goes, to trying to get something published in the real world, or just starting to write short stories in anticipation of getting something long-form published, or whether I'm okay with sticking around and tying up loose ends in that sense. This particular loose end just being one that would end up being another 300,000 words, which is a hell of an investment, regardless of how intensely I want to finish it.
Yeah, that's not really a loose end. That's just sort of like a rope that's gone off the deck and is hooked onto an anchor or something.
The problem with it was that I was trying to write a video, and this is why I have such a problem making a decision about it. It was a really good story. I felt like I did, deviated enough from the game it was based on, essentially, to make it its own thing and make it a really cool exploration of both the themes at the same time.
It's really good.
Yeah, well, and I did like it. Like I go back and read it, and I still like what's there as much as I wish I could go back and edit everything. But at the same time, I was trying to write a video game in terms of plot length, in terms of the in terms of the fine details. I spiked it there a little bit. In terms of the fine details of how everything was going to play out. So when I say I think it's at 100,000, 110, something like that, that's published now, it legitimately would be another 300,000, judging by that story length. At the very minimum, it would definitely go over 200,000, and it would just be a huge investment that I never anticipated would be anything shorter. But I guess it was a kind of a systemic flaw I had when I was an early writer, that I would have these huge ideas
Yeah.
and just have no idea how to, or really there would just be no way to condense it in. It's like trying to write an entire TV season as prose. There's a reason they have multiple writers for each episode, because otherwise it would take someone forever to get the whole thing out.
It's true that basically every author who's starting out starts out with a massive idea, like a fantastic idea that they want to realize, and it's a multi-chapter, several hundred thousand word epic where they go off and fight Satan or whatever, and it's all very deep. There's lots of parallels with Tolkien or something, and they just get halfway through it and then just fuck it and get bored of writing and go do something else.
Kid. I went off on that tangent without having ever read Tolkien. That's one of my many dirty secrets. I've never actually read Lord of the Rings. Also, never seen a Miyazaki movie, and I'm proud of that one, because if I ever need to piss off my nerdy friends, I just remind them of that, and I can see them fuming.
He's probably gonna get crucified for this.
Give it up. I would love to watch Miyazaki movies because I've heard they're fantastic, and I'm a huge movie nerd. But I can't give up that surefire way to just piss people off.
That's fantastic. Oh dear. That's it. I can understand not wanting to read Tolkien because his style isn't for everyone, and
it really isn't.
Also, everything that's basically come after Tolkien has been derivative of Tolkien. So chances are you've already read Tolkien's books, but through hundreds of other stories that have taken little bits.
It's a bit like watching Citizen Kane now, and like I've told people that when they ask, should I watch Citizen Kane? Is it great? And I tell them you have to watch it with someone who's a huge movie nerd, because they'll explain how important everything is. Like all of these things that you take for granted, like flashbacks and shots panning through clear windows and 100 different other things that are just seem like normal movie things. It's important because this was the first movie that ever did them, and it was so indescribably innovative for its time that it doesn't have the same context because everyone does those things now.
Like that Metropolis
genre-defining thing.
Yeah, the Metropolis film from way back when, it was the first ever sci-fi film, and it was a fantastic sci-fi film for its time. But nowadays, if it were to come out nowadays, it would just be ridiculously standard and plain. So,
it's fun to look back on the old stuff, though.
It's still absolutely worth watching. You just have to have the proper context.
Yes, you need to appreciate it for what it is.
I will be about, so you have to be able to appreciate it, because outside of the appreciation of what it was at the time, it's a fairly okay movie. Citizen Kane is. It's got an interesting plot, except for the one giant gaping plot hole right at the front. It's one of my favorite bits of trivia ever. In case I ever need to put a film major down a peg. I'm gonna be all pretentious about stuff, and I'll just lean on him and go, "Hey, who heard him say Rosebud? There's no one there." And their whole world just crumbles around them.
The audience did. He was breaking the fourth wall, of course. But yeah, this is true of basically everything. It's true of even horse fan fiction. If you look back at things like Past Sins, nowadays it wouldn't get more than 20 views, maybe 10 thumbs up and 8 thumbs down, you know. But it came out at the point in the Brony fandom where, oh my god, there are fanfics. What? And there's this new one.
I don't know. I actually want to give Past Sins a little bit of credit here, and I think I read the first chapter back before it went through a huge edit run.
Yeah.
So I can't really speak to its quality because I know it's changed a lot over the course of its life. I would definitely say Fallout Equestria benefited from that.
Oh yeah,
that was one of the first ones to be that long and be consistently updating every week. That's why it still has the following it does, because it was such an integral part of the early days when there was nothing else.
Not only that, but it was one of the first ones which took dark themes, and it wasn't in basically cupcakes. You know, I mean, I'm not gonna argue that Fallout Equestria is anywhere near a perfect story. Jesus Christ, it is not. But it came out at a time where you didn't expect
it. Moments. It has its perks. I think the character work was solid. That was what got me into it. The writing definitely improved as it went on.
I thought the characters were good except for Little Pip. She seemed very flat and just not interesting at all, like a cardboard piece of cardboard,
You
and
could
everyone else
technically
was
argue that
going
was
dressed.
intentional, but it wasn't.
I recall that Past Sins actually,
They just fanfic it where
when
it
it
not be too.
when it first came out, I remember that it actually got a lot of attention because of its cover art. It was also one of the first stories to
Yes.
use like a really big, good-looking
Like,
cover
Yeah,
art.
well, Past Sins did too. That was its
Yeah.
big thing.
Yeah.
And
It's
like
phenomenal.
Past Sins, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, the cover has Twilight about to be hanged. I
Yeah,
got to
that
read
was-
the
that-
story."
That is exactly my
That certainly
train
drew
of
them in, I would
thought.
think.
And it was like that actually worked. Everybody wanted to read that story because everyone was like, "Why is Twilight
Yeah.
Sparkle about to be hanged?"
There's a lot of those the early stuff you can trace kind of what happened at the time. I can't explain Rainbow Factory. I don't know why that's popular. It doesn't deserve to be.
Rainbow
I
Factory.
actually-
It's really
I had
died
the honor
off
of
now,
personally
though.
rejecting that for
Well,
TV
shock
because
value,
it was terrible.
Rainbow Factory became popular at the start because it was based on the Glaze song, the Wooden Toaster song. There's
the
a
song came first.
I don't know.
yeah, the song came first, and
I mean,
the
it was
story was
based
built
on the
around it.
song, like the World War Z movie was based on the book. It
Yeah.
shared a title,
Yeah.
but it just had it was such a gore fest, and it didn't have.
Mhm.
I mean, the resolution was stupid. I'm gonna go
Mhm.
out and call it that. And I say it's only because I was actually the person to like not let it onto EQT, and then it just blew up outside of my best efforts. So
Dude.
call me cynical, but
You could
I
have
did not
prevented
care for it,
this.
and I consider myself a very I was the person who would always take the horror fic because I was waiting for a good one to come along.
Mm.
And,
I'm curious to
it's
see
not
what
that
your
one, in my
opinions on
opinion.
the ever legendary cupcakes was.
Oh, I think because I want to give it credit because I think it did what it set out to do, which was just be
Right.
shocking and gory. The reason I
Yeah.
didn't like Rainbow Factory because I felt like it was trying for something else that it wasn't, and it didn't get there.
Rainbow Factory felt like it was trying to be a lot
like
deeper
huge
than
M.
it
Night
really was.
Shyamalan twist at the end, and
Yeah.
it just didn't work.
Like
Cupcakes
Cupcakes was never really anything more than just slice and dice, guts, bit.
I remember
But-
we actually talked to the author of Cupcakes, and he was like, "I literally did it because there was too much Rainbow Dash Pinkie Pie shipping at the
Yep,
time. I
that-
wanted something different."
It's
I was just like,
fantastic.
Yeah, I
it's
think
all
Rainbow
about
Dash
that
was
now.
written in one night because Rob was drunk, and they never edited it, and it became the most popular story in the fandom's history. And he will bear that shame for the rest of his life. He'll
Doesn't he
meet St.
hate that
Peter, and
now?
he'll look in the book, and that'll be at the top of the list. And then he'll just shake his head and go, "Yeah, that was it."
Bloody
Doesn't he
I
actually
don't know.
hate
Maybe he'll
that
cure
now?
cancer someday, and that'll maybe get like second on the list,
hell.
third, maybe top three.
Oh,
It'll
jeez.
certainly be in the top 10 forever, though.
Mhm.
Sadly.
You will never outlive it.
Well,
Horse
the
fiction will be with
scary
you
thing
forever.
about it is that just I guess judging by the view count, because it's just so far ahead of everything else except for, I guess since we don't really have the numbers for the original Fallen Earth Mystery on EQD, we don't really know exactly what those numbers are. I think last time I checked, it was something like 1.5 million
Oh,
on it
God.
on the original post, which was pretty solid.
Mm.
Even though like anything that gets made on YouTube gets like double that easily. But it seems like it's one of those things that somebody's trying to like get somebody into the fan fiction community, which is a type of person, and
Yeah.
that type of person is the one who would link someone My Little Dashing and say, "This is great. This is the best this community has to offer." And it's a little bit sobering to think of that, in the sense that I wish I wasn't sober when I thought of that.
Look at that.
Yes. Cheers. Oh dear.
I'll have to cut by.
Yep, everyone take a sip. Just
Oh dear. Do we know if Rob's coming to BronyCon?
I hope he is. I do actually want to meet him. I don't hold it against him at all. I just think the whole story.
Rob's
behind
a
it
really
is
cool
hilarious.
guy.
Yeah, I think he's cool.
Yeah,
I've
he's
met
a really
Penstroke,
cool
too,
guy
like, I
from
don't
what
have
I've seen
anything
on
against him
Skype.
either. I just have never.
No,
actually
absolutely.
personally read
Penstroke is-
Assassin's.
Penstroke is a pretty decent guy, except for the fact that he's like 7'6" or something stupid like that.
Guys,
He's
you don't
No,
like
I'm taller than him. I can assure you. I've stood.
Are
next
you?
to him.
You're
Yeah,
not
really?
taller
I'm
than
pretty
Pen.
sure.
No, you're
You are
not.
not taller than Penstroke.
No, you're
I'm
not
definitely
taller.
better.
No.
I could take him in a fight.
Well, like, no, duh.
I almost took PK in a fight, and we weren't even fighting. I just tried to shoulder bump him. I took him out at Everfree Northwest in 2012 or 2014.
Whoops.
And he tells that story sometimes
Whoops.
of his shoulder just giving when I just kind of came towards him.
Ah, bloody hell. Ah, Christ. What were we talking about before we were talking about talking and stuff?
That is a good question.
I have no
It was
idea.
something of a
I just
segue
want to
off
mention
of me talking about Harmony and my penchant for writing
Yeah,
really
that's probably
huge,
it. We're probably
stupidly
just talking about quite
undoable
stuff.
things.
I did notice
Yeah.
that you mentioned Lister's map in the first chapter of Harmony after I just looked it up again.
Oh, it did, yeah, because the map was amazing, and no one took advantage of it.
Which
I
map
know.
is
Like,
this?
I wish more stories had used that map before we had like an official one. Because I still want to go back and use that map because it was.
Oh,
I, don't
is it?
even, I think he wrote it for his own story, and then no one ever read this.
No. This map is we have it as the banner in the World Building Alliance. It's a fantastic map with like the Antleric Ocean and stuff
it's
like that.
It's the best kind of map because there's also stuff there that isn't shown anywhere. Like it's just there, and you have to go figure out what's there.
There
So
are
using that map,
here be
trying to figure out where people would be going.
Yeah,
It was just a
sadly,
cool little
the
thing.
actual fic was never written.
Well, he started to write it, and then he rewrote it, and then he rewrote it, and then he changed the wiki, and then he rewrote it. So
He got rid of the that was the thing that made me the most angry was him getting rid of the wiki. Because like that was a place where everybody was actually taking advantage of it and making up their own crap, and now
it's a really fucking great map. I'm gonna link it in the thread on Finfic because it's like the first time I tried to link it in the World Building Alliance, like the full like several thousand pixel map, Finfic couldn't handle it. Like it would just crash, so I had to edit it out my
Those
comments.
early days.
Yeah, that was
Before
fun.
we bought enough RAM to handle that.
High intensity maps.
Gonna need more when we make the change to all fiction.
Oh god, all fiction. Jesus
I'm
Christ.
looking forward to
I'm
that.
looking forward to that, and at the same time, I'm horrified by it because I don't know. There's going to be like some sort of schism.
I have
Everyone
no
people are
idea
getting
how it's
super
going to work.
dramatic about it, even though it's been coming for years.
How is it going to work in terms of like moderation? Because fanfiction.net has literally no moderation whatsoever. So
Yeah, it's working out great.
Probably,
Can't find anything. The formatting's horrible. And everything's shit.
Finfic now merging with Wattpad, confirmed.
Oh God!
Please no.
I
Nighty
don't
can
think we
now
need One
publish.
Direction fan fiction.
Nighty can now publish all his One Direction fanfics that he likes. Confirmed.
Knowing
Or
They
one of them
write
left.
it
Oh no,
so
it was Zane that left. There's a
you can
spot
say
open.
the entire site.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. One of the One Direction blokes has left, so Nighty has his
It
chance.
took me 2 tries to remember the name, so I'm hanging towards solid.
It's not like I got a good chance to get in there.
Christ
knowing that
almighty.
all fiction is coming is kind of like knowing there's going to be a train wreck in advance and waiting for
Like,
it.
No,
Now
you're-
they're in slow
it's
motion,
like-
and you're just watching it.
No, it's
Thousand
like
frames
it's
per
like you're sat in the you're sat in the control tower at an airport and your radio's dead and you've got 2 flights coming in on the same runway and it's just like
This is either going to end
this is gonna be
quick,
pretty
or
great
this is
one
gonna
way or
be
the other, but
bad.
Jesus Christ. Oh dear. Anyway, we do have a second guest on the podcast for once. This is the first time we've had 2 guests, I believe. The one
2
and
for the
only
price of
Skeeter the
1.
Lurker, followed by Skeeter's Stalker. Yes. Do we know who owns the account Skeeter's Stalker?
I don't know. I wish I knew. If I had a clue, I would tell you, but I don't
Shake
know.
their hand.
And
Yeah.
everything I can, and even anything I've been able to find in the guy, no one knows.
Yeah.
He's not enough. I can tell you that for sure. But yeah,
Oh, Christ.
pleasure to be here again.
Yes. Oh, I'm going to take this opportunity to plug the fact that Skeeter and I have both been spending like 2 weeks playing Guns of Icarus with various people, and Demon of Decay is looking for people to star in a Guns of Icarus tournament. So if you fancy flying around in airships blowing other Finfic people up with rockets, let Demon of Decay know, because that's the thing he's running.
I just bought that. I just bought that. I
You
will
just
be
bought
there.
that, Red. Oh, shit. Yeah, we're going to add you to the Icarus things. It's fucking fun. Like,
Yeah,
I'm basically
so
always the
nice.
I
pilot.
should get that, yeah. I would have to roleplay
Yeah, it's-
only as a variety of because I can't name myself just one pirate that I would roleplay as.
Like,
Cycle, you know, like Edward
the
Kenway,
ship.
Blackbeard, probably like Dutchman.
Everybody
Obviously.
was Blackbeard at least once.
Mhm.
I
I
would
would
be
actually accept
even
it
the
as a
ships.
pirate would be terrifying.
Yeah, the one of the great things about Guns of Icarus is the fact that you can actually name your ships. Like you can christen your ships whatever you want them to be. Like we started out on the ship HMS Twilestia because, of course, it's one of the most powerful ships out there. It was renamed to the HMS Booty Popper after we ran into a person called Booty Plug.
Ram you fuckers right through the middle. Watch it all go down in flames.
Yep, pretty much.
It's not as funny as I think it is.
Then we had Booty Popper 2, son of Booty Popper. What was it named after that? Oh, it was HMS Ogre because we ran into the SS Shrek and we teamed up with them. So, oh dear.
Was I on that one? I think it was.
I think you were. It was us and the Spire, yeah. But yeah, I wholeheartily recommend Guns of Icarus if you can find friends to play it with because it's fucking hilarious. Jesus Christ.
Play the game after we get done with this.
Oh, absolutely. 3 a.m. Guns of Icarus. I'm down for that. But yeah, so yeah, one of our guests is in fact Skeeter. Skeeter, introduce yourself for the like 5 people on FimFiction who've not heard of you.
Name's Skeeter the Lurker. I'm a well-known reader and commenter on the site. Nice to meet you all again.
I heard you're running a contest.
I am actually. It's called Switcheroo, and it's basically take an episode of the show and rewrite it. The catch is, you have to replace the focus character with a different character, and you have to try and play it as close to the moral of this episode as possible. So, like, for instance, let's see, Lesson 0, where Twilight goes completely insane.
If you notice my screen tilting back a little bit, that's my erection.
But basically, what you do is you take something like that. What you would do is you would remove Twilight from the focus.
From the original episode and replace them with Rarity or something.
With Rarity or something, and then you would play out like her.
So we're taking out Twilight, replacing them with Rarity. So is the goal of the contest to make everything exponentially worse, or just parts of it?
I believe you misspoke again.
Worse.
I would love to see how Rarity would freak out to Twilight's freakouts.
I'm hoping someone decides to do that during the contest. I really am.
I'm predicting basically half the stories that you're going to get are going to be Sisterhood Social, but with Celestia and Luna. That's roughly half of the entire competition.
I haven't gotten any solid responses yet, but hopefully I'll get them soon.
Yeah, we should definitely try and organize this a bit.
Welcome to join. Writing in on the 15th, I think I said. Yeah, I'll link it in the thread if you don't mind.
Yeah, sounds good.
But yeah.
So that's what's been going on. There's also been the OC Slam Jam been going on.
That's been pretty cool.
Have they announced? Yeah, have they announced who's actually lost, or can you just like count up who's been voted or whatever?
I thought you should have won up. I thought your story was better.
I thought it was.
I wouldn't. Booster Bones has been knocked out, and thus I have lost all interest in the competition. Rainbow Bob's character was fucking phenomenal.
Oh, was that?
Holy shit, I love Booster Bones. Booster Bones! The dead detective
who's terrible at being a detective.
Yeah, he doesn't believe he's a ghost. So he goes around.
The moral of this contest is that designing a good character doesn't matter because Mizuko's in like the round of 16. It's literally the worst character I've ever seen in my life. And no disrespect, because I think it's all this clever ruse. Because the difference in quality between rounds is so pronounced.
I think Mizuko lost the second round, though. I think Mizuko got crushed. Even though there was a very big improvement, I think Mizuko was out.
Okay, I haven't checked in a little bit actually.
John Perry posted a score update like late last night, and Mizuko was getting pretty blown out.
Ooh. Yeah, I think mine was one of the only. I think mine was the only one from the first round that actually ended close.
I think there are a couple, but I know whoever you lost to right now is tied with their opponent.
Oh, do they really catch up? I'm not bitter.
Yeah, I voted them. My vote ended up tying it.
I'm fine.
Rip.
But I thought you should have won the first round. Like, your story was better.
That thing.
No, I mean, I went high concept with it, so I mean, I knew it was going to be a sink or swim thing. So either was
moral of the story is good characters don't matter so long as you write a bloody lowest common denominator story. Yeah.
Such is the way of
I'm gonna find it because now I want to see what it looks like. Where are you, John? I still seriously want whoever gets Falcata to write her as an assassin. I was dead
I saw that comment and I really wanted to happen.
Dead serious about that. I want it to happen.
That would probably
absolutely what I
for
would
context for people. Yeah, context for people who haven't been following the competition that well. One of the characters has gone through both rounds so far because her opponents have dropped out, like both times. She hasn't actually turned up at any point. So, Aqua's idea of them actually being an assassin is fucking fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, that's literally the only possible option.
Writer of that character, deceive and heed our words, make it an assassin.
Absolutely.
Oh, so the round's over. I didn't realize it ended a while ago.
Yeah,
okay.
last night.
So, alright, so did they actually end as a tie? Because what happens then? I was wondering that for the first round, because it was looking because this is my thing I'm going to not hold against Rainbow Bob, but just remind him of in case he ever makes me angry at anything. He says, yeah, you were the one who knocked me out, your vote alone. But no, like if he had voted for me, it would have been tied, so I was about to ask last time what would have happened.
I mean, like, would it be? It couldn't be. It couldn't be executive decision. Like, OBS couldn't just step in and say this person gets my vote, therefore they win. Like, it would have to be they'd go at it again somehow, or they both go through.
Weird. Okay, so the only two that were Okay, so the only two that were close were Lusterlock and then Evergreen versus Filigree.
I think Evergreen pulled away because Filigree got like a fishy vote after that. Because someone voted for Evergreen, and then immediately after that, some like brand new account voted for Filigree, so that's potentially fishy.
Yeah.
And then after that, there are a couple more votes for Evergreen, so I think Evergreen pulled away.
Yeah,
Heather Rose and Lusterlock is tied.
I've got to question someone who would use. Yeah, I've got to question someone who would use alt to upvote their own story, in a story that's being run by Fimfic mods.
I know.
Like, that seems the worst possible place.
The term basic logic comes to mind for this. It just seems like something.
Yeah, the account was made 19th of June, 2015, so...
What you have to do is you have to create an army of alts and then leave them for several months. Play the long con. I'm planning ahead for next year's contest.
What you do is you name them all stuff like names that like the random brony or stuff like that. People who anyone with a rational brain wouldn't name themselves. Just like, oh god, the cringe.
No, I'm going to make 16 different counts, and they're all going to be various misspellings of Aquaman. Myself.
Horizon. Yeah, it's like Horizon with his not a changeling alt or whatever it is.
Because I would love to do that as like a
poorly disguised alt. Yeah.
Poorly disguised alt, that's the one. I'm so disappointed he hasn't turned up in one of Wanderer D's blogs yet. Like, you know, Wanderer D's blogs with a clueless user and what's the other one?
Obnoxious user.
Something writer.
Clueless user and obnoxious
writer.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the two. If a poorly disguised alt doesn't turn up there sometimes, I'm just going to be so disappointed. Like, D, come on. It's there, D. Use it.
But... had, in a fanfiction.net forum, a lengthy argument with myself over two different accounts.
Isn't that what Skywriter does in the Harsh 20 group often?
I'm not even going to ask about that.
No, it was
if you want something using the read, just go to the Miss Harshwini group. I can't remember if it's Miss Harshwini's best friend or something. And just pick a random thread random, and just read it. Because you'll see like Skywriter reply to his own comment with like different things, like he's got a split personality, and it's absolutely wonderful.
Wow. I'll have to check that out. Christ on a bike. I've got to admit, I would not join a Harshwini fan group out of personal choice.
I did just for that.
I mean, I actually genuinely like button mash, so I have no room to judge anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. R.I.P.
my cross to bear.
Oh dear. Now we watch as the viewers plummet to zero.
Which is really why I like anyone. I don't actually like Diamond Tiara on the show. I like this massive interpretation I have of her that barely resembles her actual personality. So, that's how it goes.
So how is your hunt for Billy Morph going? Have you killed him yet?
Oh, wait.
Billy Morph?
I totally believe you when you say that I threatened to kill him.
Well, it was because his story beat out Diamond and Tiara, so...
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, we're working on that.
Okay.
Should be. What time is it? Okay, he's still got a couple hours.
Christ almighty. What was that, it wasn't outside.
It was A World Without Kindness.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was A World Without Kindness and Woman.
I was thinking of something else. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I was thinking of a diamond with a tether or whatever it is. The diamond and tether.
Yeah, diamond and tether. I said
should have won. Because Diamond is my favorite.
Yeah.
Some top stuff. Christ on a bike.
That would be interesting. Does he like perform miracles on the bike? Is that what we're going for here?
Drive by miracles or cycle by miracles. Quite possibly. I'm just going to throw this out there just quickly because I need to throw it out here at some point. Jurassic World is a movie that everyone should go see, regardless of what sort of person you are.
I have plans to do that tomorrow.
Well, I want to see it just because it has dinosaurs, and dinosaurs are like the best thing ever.
Yes, they are.
There are dinosaurs. That is a minor spoiler.
Minor? I don't think it's a spoiler at all. It's called Jurassic World.
It's a very smiler.
I mean, there were a lot of different things around in the Jurassic period. It could be just 2 hours of looking at, extinct plants.
Trilobites.
That's fair. That's fair.
Could be a documentary on, fossilization processes. I mean, really, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's also fair to point out that all the sea creatures weren't technically dinosaurs, so...
Well, most weren't. Most weren't, yeah.
I'm pretty sure all of them were classified as not dinosaurs.
No, there were a handful of dinosaurs, like, is it Ichthyosaurus? Ichthyosaurus is one of them, which was basically a dolphin with teeth, so...
Yeah, I know what Ichthyosaurus is, but I didn't think it was classified as a dinosaur.
But anyway, I wholeheartedly recommend
Once Upon a Time.
I don't
I like the helicopter gun.
Ichthyosaur was actually like I'm looking it up and it says that they were large marine reptiles, but not necessarily dinosaurs.
I don't know. Regardless of whatever an Ichthyosaurus is, I wholeheartedly recommend Jurassic World to everyone simply because of the final battle, right? The final scene it makes up for Jurassic Parks 2 and 3. The final scene on its own. The rest of the movie,
Jurassic Parks 2 and 3, but that could just be because I like dinosaurs.
You are a strange man, C-squared.
I like dinosaurs.
I'd like to imagine the entire movie became a thing because someone had the idea of having Chris Pratt train raptors. And then about 6 months into the design process, they realized they had to have a plot other than Chris Pratt training raptors.
I mean...
And then the rest of it was kind of thrown in.
Isn't it weird how, maybe 2 years ago...
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, maybe 2 years ago, maybe 1 year ago, Chris Pratt was basically just the lovable oaf from Park and Recs and wasn't anything else. And since then, he's been
Troy Baker of the real world.
Yeah, he's been Star-Lord, the sort of intergalactic vigilante sort of thing going on in Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's trained raptors while riding motorcycles.
What next? What's he gonna do next?
It's gonna be quite a step up. Jurassic Universe, where he becomes god of the raptor planet.
The launch of the Jurassic Park cinematic universe. This is the first movie out of 15. Everyone's doing it now.
Of course, you can't deny that he's a good actor.
Oh yeah, absolutely is. I love the guy.
Charming.
Anyway, that was completely off topic. I highly recommend that though. So,
yes.
What were we talking about before that? and is it something that we should talk about some more?
We were talking about OC Slam Jam, I think is how we got on there.
Yes, we were talking about various competitions. I mentioned the World Building Alliance one was good a lot earlier. For those who don't know, the World Building Alliance used to hold a competition every month until all the judges actually got lives. And
also, Film Fiction group notifications died.
Yes, group notifications also died.
That was a major part of it, I believe.
Yeah, but the group notifications have been back, and we've all sufficiently lost our lives to a sufficient extent that we can do competitions again. So they are restarting, and sometime soon, maybe in the next week or so, hopefully we'll get the second competition out of the way, because the OC Slam Jam rounds just finished. So that's a bunch of people who enter competitions who are no longer in competitions, so they can join us for that.
Don't forget about the Write-Off Association.
Well, they do their thing all the time.
Yeah, right.
I need to get back into that. I've done it a couple times. It's always fun. Yeah, so I can actually throw out a genuine recommendation.
Just selected their new prompt, and it's called A Matter of Perspective.
Oh,
I kind of half trolled the group and half put a serious post in there where I said I've thought about entering. So if you're out there, I might write words and I might enter them into the write-off.
Quote unquote might.
I think my second most viewed story ever started as a write-off story. Oh yeah, that was the one about Diamond Tiara murdering OCs.
Oh,
which was an expression. Again, everything good I ever write comes out of spite because I hated that prompt. The prompt was Lonely Happiness, and I hated that prompt. It was such a terrible prompt, and I decided, all right, I'm going to do the absolute most ridiculous thing I can think of. And I said, all right, I'm going to make Lonely Happiness an original character. I'm going to murder her. And then there was a story that spawned from that. But that was really the genesis of it, was really want to have a not at all subtle way of saying I'm not a fan of this entire idea.
I've got to ask, the write-off, the people suggest various prompts, and then it's popular vote, right, as to which prompt people go for.
There are a lot of troll prompts that get submitted.
But why do people vote for them? Every time I hear anything about a write-off prompt,
because Machiavelli's The Prince was meant to be a parody, but then everyone took it seriously.
Think of the people who are in here. Present Perfect loves to troll people. So Present Perfect votes for the troll prompts.
He's not the majority
other people...
Present Perfect is not the majority. As much of a fantastic man as he may be, he does not get more votes than most people. So, unless there's something going on, I'm not
seeing Present Perfect do silly things, so they encourage him, and then they vote for the troll prompt.
Right, so it's basically encouraging Present Perfect. Okay, right. You're enabling
letting Colton Gardas just win additional things.
Yeah, Present Perfect will vote for a stupid prompt, and then Colton Gardas will turn it into a tearjerker.
People wanted to make an amateur division and a professional division because
I thought that was
Gardas and Horizon just won everything. There was literally no one else.
Is there any prize to the? I don't think there is. Is there?
No, it's
bragging rights.
Imaginary points.
Yeah, internet fame.
Most of the internet is built around imaginary points. So.
True, but at least most places have the decency to give you an imaginary point button that you can press. I give you an imaginary point. Nice. But, So I don't know. The write-off's a nice thing though. I think it would be an excellent place for new authors to get used to.
Oh, totally.
Writing new things, but unfortunately there is that sort of almost civil war going on where people are kick Colton Gardas out because he's too good for us.
That's died down.
Died down, I think. Okay.
Love. Colton Gardas is too good for us.
Yeah.
Everybody, this entire collective of us.
Yeah.
And if you can find a way to surpass him even once,
I did. One time, outside inside, beat him.
Then I'm pretty sure you can agree that the passion and enjoyment you get out of that is probably incomparable.
That was way better than winning the contest. And I say this because I genuinely do love him and I genuinely do admire him, but God, that was awesome. Just to finish hit him, and then he didn't enter the second most dangerous game, and it kind of killed it a little bit. That was when I decided, I don't want to do this super bleak Fall to Equestria prompt interpretation. I'm just gonna write something fun.
Okay, so John Perry has posted a comment on the thread itself. Aqua, you say you feel like Jurassic World was just made to have Chris Pratt training raptors. I have great news for you. In August 2004, Ain't It Cool News published a review of a leaked draft of the film's script. The story would have involved a new character, a mercenary who is hired by a Swiss corporation and put in charge of training a team of genetically modified Deinonychus in rescue missions. They then changed that to
glad they
Chris
spent 11
Pratt.
years on that script.
Yeah, they then changed that to Chris Pratt training raptors. Fantastic.
Yeah, so exactly. That was the genesis, and then eventually they figured out they had to have a real plot. But I made that up, by the way. That was just a joke. Would love it.
Fantastic.
It is.
Christ almighty. Like, Jurassic World and Mad Max are both two old properties who've had some less than stellar sequels, which have been revitalized and have been fucking great.
The first Mad Max was kind of meh. Road
Hey,
Warrior
the
was great.
ferret!
Hello, Ferret.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi,
have a
ferret!
Yeah.
Ferret.
He decided Aqua was just too awesome to handle on his own. He had to add Skeeter to balance it out.
Well, to be fair,
Well-
your computer was dead, so we needed someone else.
Skeeter was the
C-Squared
No,
fourth
they'd make
person.
it feel good.
Skeeter was the fourth person to join this call, so
No, it
And
was
we
the
didn't have
third,
anyone.
I believe.
I was
it's
the
not our fault that you were slacking off, see?
Yeah.
I was here third.
You've
No, you
been
were here.
dead!
Oh yeah. Yeah, you were there
It was-
third.
People
Okay.
have been like
Awkward
freaking
me.
out trying to find you for the
Yeah,
reviews. I'm like,
I
oh my
was
gosh,
first,
she's
Brett was,
died! What happened?
Fifth, and then I think
C-Squared has no Skype. He is a butt.
I am
Yeah.
a butt who has no Skype.
Yes.
True
Completely
facts.
accurate.
Or apparently any fanfic.
Yeah. Rip. Oh dear. But yeah, as I was saying, both Jurassic Park and Mad Max have been revitalized with these things. It's fucking great. I'm loving it. Like,
Oh,
I'm
God.
trying to think of other old films that I would like revitalized. I'm not sure. I don't want to tempt fate
Well,
and say.
Die Hard came
I'm
back
actually
a few
having
years ago.
An answer for a
Die
movie.
Hard's pretty
remake,
damn
I would
good.
love to.
I want to hear Aqua's
Another
take, because
world.
Aqua's a huge movie nerd.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just saying like my one thing that if I ever got a chance, I would absolutely love to remake the Warriors.
Oh my
Really?
god, yes!
And I'm not talking about like just like redo it the exact same thing. I want to like update
No.
the entire thing to reflect the fears of today rather than the fears of when it was made.
Yeah.
Oh god,
The
yes.
core story.
that would be
The core
cool.
story is based on an ancient Greek legend of a march to the sea from like escaping from a battle, and it's
Yeah.
such a compelling core story that you could absolutely update and make
Oh, yeah, I
something
was
really
gonna
cool
say,
out
as
of
long
it
as
in
you
like
get
a
that basic
more
narrative.
modern, I guess, relevant thing. So I would
don't-
absolutely love to like get a treatment of that.
I had a
That's
strange
brilliant.
revelation lately, which ties into that a little bit. I've been watching the E3 press conference stuff, like all the stuff that like Fallout 4 looks absolutely fucking amazing. I'm very hyped
It's going
about
to be a
that.
good year for
Build your own
games.
vault.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I've also been.
Howard has a reputation for lying. I wish everyone at that conference lied as well as he does.
Oh god, yes.
Oh god, can I?
Wonderful.
I'm gonna resume this tangent in a moment, but I want to go off a tangent on this other tangent. The Trembling Man from E3. Holy shit, that guy is adorable. Like,
Oh, wasn't he presenting like his own game? and
yeah,
he was
like
Unraveled.
I didn't see the video, I saw
Unraveled or whatever it was.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Unravel, yes. Oh my
And he
god,
brought out,
he's
he
so
brought out the
adorable.
little,
And he brought out the doll that he made
Oh,
while camping with his family.
No.
And his
just like freaking
His
out.
hands
on
were
camera.
shaking, and
It
it's
was
just
like, oh
Wow.
precious, I just want to cuddle you.
yeah. He won. Like the people in the E3 room while they were watching that. It started off just like this guy's a bit weird. They ended up loving it, and the internet fucking loves this guy, and I've
Oh,
never
God,
been
yeah.
proud of
I
the
don't know
internet.
stuff. I didn't see
The
this.
internet thinks he's like the
Okay,
best thing ever. He's
Skeeter,
so
basically.
sweet.
Basically, this guy is an indie dev that's kind of been absorbed into EA a bit. He's making this game where the idea is based upon that Japanese concept of the ribbon of life, I believe it's called, which
Yeah.
is like a red ribbon which ties two people who are destined to be together. You know, it's sort of like love sort of thing. And he's got this little doll that's made out of yarn. He's called
It's
Yarn.
this little red yarn cat.
Yeah, he runs around.
Yeah.
Yeah, he runs around, he does platforming and stuff, but as he runs around, he unravels because he's traveling further and further away from the ones he loves, and you just fall to pieces like that, which is what he says. And he came up with this idea while camping on a camping holiday with his family, and shared
awesome.
camping. He shared camping photos at E3 and pulled out a doll made of like chicken wire and yarn that he'd built with his family on camping and went hi and stuff like that. He is the
And like, he
most
was
ridiculous.
so scared. Like his hands were shaking. Like you could hear it in his voice.
I seriously gotta look this up
So
now.
genuine. It was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you just took all of the boring, standard, cliche, disappointing crap that came out during the Division trailer, reverse the polarity, and then put it towards an indie game, that's basically what it turned into.
Yeah.
You like how
It's literally
separated
like this game is going to
about
blow
the
the
Division
fuck
trailer?
up.
Yeah, like I described the game itself as Limbo, but with actual gameplay elements, which is, that's pretty nice because Limbo was.
And color.
I mean, and once we get an indie game with actual gameplay, that's when the world ends.
Yeah,
Oh, God,
pretty
yeah.
much.
I mean,
Bastion had gameplay.
so glad my brother bought me Gone Home on a Steam sale for $5.
Bastion's
Oh,
pretty
God.
great. But yeah,
had some real
Master
gameplay.
too.
Good.
I was okay. I'm gonna reel back that tangent. Trembling Man is adorable, and if you haven't seen him, go check him out.
Oh,
But
God, yeah.
the original thing I was going to talk about was like Aqua was mentioning
The Division.
yeah, you were meant no. I'm not going to talk about the
Core
Division.
storyline of the Warriors.
I am not
So
going to talk about the Division. But you were talking about, like, if you were to do an updated version of the Warriors, you need to reimagine it for the sort of current situation. You need to reimagine it as its own thing instead of just copy-pasting what it was.
Yeah.
And I had a bit of a sort of revelation in a similar sort of theme regarding the Star Wars Battlefront stuff that's been going on.
Oh,
Because
that was so bad.
no, but the thing is, like, a little while ago, the Star Wars Battlefront trailer came out, and let's face it, everything surrounding it was just shit. Like, it was just like, it's just like, there's
The
fewer
demo
people
was
in lobbies,
terrible.
and you can't do space battles and stuff like that. And since then, I've kind of realized that actually, what I wanted in Battlefield 3 was basically Battlefield 2, but again.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah, I was
It's
going to make the
funny.
point that the reason everyone's complaining about it is that the entire video game audience is an audience who not only will accept, but actively desires companies to just make the exact same thing.
Call
And then
of Duty.
complains about companies making the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Call of Duty,
I
Battlefield,
can't
yeah.
think of a Nintendo fan who actually wants Nintendo to come out with an original IP. Like, the fact that Splatoon exists is near
I
miraculous.
want them to come out with new stuff, but I also like making new games, but then doing different things with it. Like Super Mario Galaxy was pretty great because it was a very different way to do the standard
That
Mario
said-
shit.
Well, I'm just
That
talking about
said-
all the guys who are just saying, like,
Amazing.
remake Wind Waker again. We already remade Wind Waker. We did that. It was fine.
Yeah, you basically
Still-
give them, a faster sale.
Yeah, people panned Super Mario Galaxy before it came out because they were just like, oh, it's another Mario game, but
People
just
were
weird.
freaking out about Enemy Unknown before it came out. Like, oh my god, it's not
yeah.
exactly the same as the original XCOM,
Yeah.
guys.
And I realized with Battlefront, it's a different game from Battlefront 2. Like, yeah, sure, it's not got 32 versus 32 like the original had or whatever it is, but, you know, more people in a multiplayer lobby is not necessarily a good thing. Like, it's a common saying that the worst part of multiplayer is the multiple players. And there's truth
Oh
in
god,
that.
yes.
Yeah, does
The more
anyone remember MAG for the PS3? No,
Yeah.
that's why.
Oh god.
And there's other things, like one thing that I never really understood was people freaking out about 8080s being on rails. As someone who loves the fuck out of Battlefront 2, they're basically on rails already. They're just like on really shitty rails that have fallen apart.
And I
Do
think
they
that's
really
the
want
point
to
a lot
see
of people had was not that it wasn't new, it
Mm.
was that what they were showing was really, really bad.
Yeah.
Like, just really low, like, hitboxes, and the collision detection was garbage, and just, it was
And this
basically
is
that.
how I know I'm a casual gamer, because I was watching the whole thing going, alright, this looks pretty cool.
Oh, it definitely looks
I'm the
good.
person
No,
you
it
all
looks
hate.
really cool. This was people who actually played the demo
Yeah.
stuff and said,
Yeah,
no, it's terrible.
I've been
Like, it
listening
was literally
to...
like one guy was talking about, playing the game and like sitting in the middle of the run and apparently running into a tree
Yeah.
and
Like,
just dying instantly.
There's I've been listening to Cox and Crendor, and apparently, like, the flying in that game is absolutely terrible. But this is
Yeah.
all like pre-alpha stuff, and it's stuff that they can hopefully fix before launching in the latter half of the year.
I'm hoping that's an attitude that changes, is that you have to, because there's no good thing to show at E3.
Oh no.
Because if you show pre-alpha, then there's all the bugs, there's all the gameplay things that are
it's
going to be
really
possibly
messy and
completely different.
ugly.
I mean, for God's sake, I remember the pre-alpha gameplay for Bioshock Infinite. the end game in no way resembled that. Like,
No.
the character designs were
not even
different, the design of the
remotely.
city was different. The character that played a huge role in that demo reel never showed up in the game.
Yeah, just
He was cut
completely
completely.
dropped off the charts. They may as well have never
Yeah.
existed.
And then you've
So
got the
you either
you've
do
got
that, or you show the cinematic trailer and everyone complains that it's not the real game.
Yeah. But there's also a situation where, like, a lot of times you'll promise things in E3 but that you just literally can't deliver. Like the biggest example being Aliens Colonial Marines, which was just it looked
They promised
great.
they'd make a good game, and oops.
Yeah, it seemed so promising, and that it was just kind of, really, this is what you gave us?
Like, it's just beyond bad, because not only was it a really bad game in its own right, but they promised so much. Like, it looked really good.
Yeah.
It was really just, they promised the moon.
That's why I think Fallout 4 worked so well, because they didn't even announce it until they had something. Like, I feel like what we saw was fairly close to what it's going to end up being.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it really does feel like this is final polished stuff.
You know
you have a company that you can trust.
Final polish. It's right there at it.
Yeah, but they said that they basically started working on it right after Skyrim, and then...
No, they said they started working on it right after Fallout 3, and then like really focused on it after Skyrim. So it's been in production for a while. So they got
and that's really the only way you can do it, because people keep talking about how early access and all that, but if you don't early access these games, they're probably never gonna be even like seen. Because not that I'm supporting early access, but because I don't think it's that great an idea.
Like,
early
access can be beneficial because it gives you that immediate visceral feedback on, okay, this is what people want, this is what they don't want. But at the same time, I feel like it's kind of a crutch. It is sort of, if you don't have that self-motivation.
It works like the feature box, I guess. You can push stuff out really quickly and it will get up there. It's just a question of whether you disappoint people, whether you kind of invalidate the whole process by virtue of taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
Like the Siege.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Siege was great because Siege just went through social media.
Yeah. I was going to say.
took pleasure in people just breaking their game.
Yeah, like literally they just put it out there and went, show us what you can destroy.
Yeah.
Please break our game.
I like what, early access is something that can easily be abused, and there are so many companies out there that do abuse it. The most prominent example being DayZ. DayZ was originally.
I would just say Steam. Period.
Yeah, like DayZ was originally a mod for Arma 2, and since then it's been released as a full game, and it's been in alpha for however many years, and no real progress is being made on it, and it's just horrible.
I'm really disappointed that's not a real game yet.
Yeah.
That car game looks like it would be phenomenal if it ever turned into a real game.
And that's the problem, is it doesn't seem like it's going to.
Yeah,
it seems like he's just going to keep kind of milking it and using that and just not actually doing anything with it, which is a real pity.
Yeah, but equally on the other end of the spectrum, you've got things like Darkest Dungeon, which while it was technically early access, basically it was the full bells and whistles of the game. It's just you couldn't get to the final boss because they were still working on that. And they added some classes later on to make it a bit more fleshed out. So that's a situation where early access is actually not that bad.
Or something like
Minecraft,
where, constantly updating and adding to it. The problem is basically just you have to keep working at it. And I think for a lot of people, it's sort of like, I see this on FimFic a lot, where it's sort of this attitude of once you hit the publish button, you're done. You don't change anything, you're finished, it is, ship it out, it's done, you're never touching it again. It doesn't matter if feedback or advice or, they give you typos or whatever, you ignore it, it's done, it's, carved in stone, can't touch it.
I mean, do you not carve your stories in stone?
Well, obviously, but I make sure to do them like
that's how I do all my first drafts.
Oh, see, I always do them in wax, because then when I get really pissed off, I can just melt it all.
I mean, I can melt the stones. It just, I think there's a couple zoning violations for that.
Yeah, they get so pissy about it. Yeah, I just got sick of having to listen to them complaining. It's not my fault they can't get a Crucible good enough.
I mean, eventually the lava hardens, and it's basically like a new paving job, so...
Yeah, and I mean, it's probably better than what the city's gonna do. They should be paying me, Christ. Anyway.
I'm fixing this damn neighborhood. Lava river right down the middle of the cul-de-sac.
But yeah, so E3.
That was a thing that happened.
Yeah, absolutely was. Fallout 4, I'm loving the look of so far. Like, it's very polished. They didn't really spoil that much. Interesting
was it
stuff.
Jim Sterling who did the big rant about how the character had no asshole?
Oh.
His smooth, flawless butt.
Yeah.
I think it was like Jim Sterling did this like big blog post about how the guy clearly had no asshole. His butt was too smooth.
God.
Yeah, so that was the thing.
Like for the
really looking, wasn't he?
What else?
Confirm that it's Troy Baker voicing him, because I would swear it was. I haven't seen anyone actually confirm it.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Did they get Ron Perlman to say war never changes though?
Yeah.
No, it's actually the new guy, so I think it's Troy Baker. So I think Troy Baker's literally taking over the world.
I think so.
Fantastic. I've got to say my favorite part of E3, so like what I saw, while The Trembling Man was great, my favorite has to be the announcement from the new Madden game, where literally nobody in the room cared. So, there's a new Madden game coming out.
I mean, that's on like death and taxes level of inevitability.
Yeah, that's just it's a given, guys. We already know.
I actually watched the FIFA trailer. I've never seen a trailer that gave so little information about a game. It looked identical.
At the end of the day, it's FIFA, so it's like 99% identical. So
the names on the jerseys are a little different, and that's it.
Again, everyone in the community, it's really hilarious, I guess from an outside perspective and even from inside, because I'm part of it, how self-loathing everybody is.
I was going to say.
People genuinely hate this game. Like, everybody who plays it hates it, but we have no other option, and we're freaking addicted to it.
People will be like, oh, I thought of getting into FIFA, and everyone goes, don't play this game. Whatever you do not play this game.
Stay away.
Just the subreddit.
Stay away now.
It's like a new player asking for tips on how to play online, and literally 70% of the comments are, don't play this game.
Don't.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're all holding out hope. It's like, okay, next year it'll be better. It's not going to be better.
I remember like seeing a guy. He's asking how does it like. Are there any tips for people beginning Dwarf Fortress? And the number one tip was turn your computer off. Like, okay.
Don't play this.
Don't play this because
outside,
we
save
want
yourself. You're lost and damned.
Christ.
Oh dear.
Personally, one game I'm hopeful for that I saw in E3 was the new Assassin's Creed.
I don't know.
It looks like they took it back to the original one.
I'm just happy they didn't all have those annoying, Cockney accents.
That was really when it peaked.
Yeah, I can see that.
Black Flag was pretty great, but
I
don't know. I just kind of I got bored of the Assassin's Creed gameplay during Assassin's Creed 1, and it kind of revitalized it a bit in Assassin's Creed 2 when
I will say you did miss a real great story in Assassin's Creed 2 and associated sequels.
Yeah.
Oh no, I played Assassin's Creed 2.
Assassin's Creed 2 was actually good.
It was.
Yeah, it was pretty decent. It fixed some of the problems with Assassin's Creed 1, and it was a different setting and stuff like that. Then they had Ezio like 5 fucking times, and it was just...
It was like David Tennant as the Doctor. He just never laughed.
Connor happened, and we all just like to pretend he didn't happen. And then Kenway was actually good. Kenway was actually a good character. I was really impressed with the third
Black Flag was great. Black Flag was great, except for the Assassin's Creed bits. Like, the pirate bits of Black Flag.
Once I remembered it was an Assassin's Creed game, it really went down a notch. If it wasn't an Assassin's Creed game, it was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was literally it. It was, take the Assassin's Creed label off it. It's a great game. You keep that label, and it immediately drops a few notches.
Well, because it was so irrelevant. Like the main plot ended at the end of Assassin's Creed, like the modern day one. So no one gives a shit what's happening there. No one ever cared, but now they care less. Because North isn't. Or Kristen Wiig. Or no, it's Kristen Bell.
I'm just going to like I really stopped giving a shit about the story as soon as like Assassin's Creed 2 rolled around and it turned out there were aliens. Like, okay, fuck it.
Yeah, and then it was just kind of really
aliens.
That's
or
what
maybe
you're picking.
gods. They're just the Forerunners, but not because it's not Halo.
The proof.
Halo 3 ended. Halo ended with Halo 3, in my opinion, because everything after
Halo
that
3 was great.
I'm holding out faith for 343 to redeem. I think they're going to do it.
Halo 3 was great.
I really do.
Yeah, Halo 3 was great. Halo 3 ODST was fun. Halo Reach was also fun. It wasn't as good as Halo 3, I don't think, but it was still pretty decent.
Reach would have been better if they put out more than 2 invasion maps.
Yeah. Invasion was so good! Holy shit, I loved Invasion.
It felt like they sort of teased something amazing and then went, okay, you can't have any more.
It's kind of like, it kind of reminds me a bit of the latest Battlefield Hardline, where they were going all out, oh, it's cops and robbers, and then it just turns out to basically be Battlefield 4, but with less guns.
And a couch.
Unfortunate, too.
Yeah. Well, like, Halo 4 was just, ugh. I remember, like, maybe I'm slightly biased because... Maybe I'm slightly biased because the only time I really played Halo 4 was during a 72-hour no-sleep period for charity, but it wasn't great. But yeah.
I can't imagine myself. I'm trying to imagine myself streaming FIFA and 4 hours in, just say, I quit. Fuck the work.
I was gonna say, in 4 hours, you would have probably smashed about 3 controllers.
This game.
And been like reduced to a sobbing wreck.
Oh, Christ.
And finally, somebody would just come and stop you and be like, "Aqua, you're not allowed to do this anymore." He'd be like, "I need the game."
No,
like, no.
Fuck you! I'm gonna get back up.
I'm in Division 3. No, I'm totally fine. I am not having a breakdown.
I don't have a problem. You have.
I've said such unkind things about technically real people during that game.
Isn't that the case with everything though? Like any game where it's got even like Darkest Dungeon. Like one of the things you do in that is you name people. Like you've got characters.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh god, everybody naming the party members after their friends, and then telling their friends what the party members were getting up to.
Like that.
My character got obsessed with leeches.
Your character got obsessed with leeches after they went insane while fighting a giant pig. Raz and Pav both went into town on separate occasions and got so drunk that they lost several hundred coins and a gold watch. Ferret fell into an Iron Maiden and locked themselves in somehow. They're not allowed near enclosed spaces
anymore.
Stuff like that. But yeah, so
I got rabies if I recall.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, you did. Yeah, you got rabies by searching in a tree.
Yeah, I remember.
I got bit by wolves. I got bit by rabid wolves and was fine. You hung around a tree too long and got rabies. So
yes, I remember that.
So yeah, there's I love games that have that little element, like XCOM, where you can just talk about how someone just walked around and got stomped on by a sectopod.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember. There was a stand-up comic who did something like that, where he wasn't playing FIFA, he was playing Football Manager, which is kind of the same thing, only you have less control over it. And he's talking about meeting a real footballer and then being pissed at them in real life because they were being a bit of a pill in the game. So he's like, I wish I could remember who it was because I would link it in the chat and maybe I'll find it at some point where you guys are talking about something else.
That would be hilarious.
He was talking to the real footballer and was kind of like blowing him off. He's like, you know what? You should have practiced late a couple times in Football Manager. I'm not a fan. You go fuck yourself.
It's just fuck off. I'm done with you.
Yeah. I remember. Go on, Skis.
Fun fact: in XCOM, when I played online or just generally, I had like my entire crew named after the FimFic mod team.
Oh dear.
For the hell of it. I think I had like.
And of course, you made sure Meester died first.
Yeah.
Oh hell
yeah!
no.
I remember. There's a story. There's a story on the.
Continue right on, like nothing was a problem. Which is very fitting considering the nature of the guy.
There's a story on the XCOM subreddit of where like one of the guys who was playing XCOM, he had like a bunch of people. It was a long war, so there's an awful lot of soldiers in that. He had all his soldiers named after his friends, and then he named them after some idols. He ran out of names for like 2 more people, and he named one of them. Oh God.
I did find that clip. I'm just gonna go find that.
What's the fuck it, we'll do it live guy?
Bill O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly. He named one of his soldiers Bill O'Reilly and sent him in first to combat every time. And Bill O'Reilly kept on fucking surviving. Like, you would just be stood in the middle of a field next to alien mechs that are about to step on his face, and he'd pull through it. Like,
the man's a cockroach. What do you expect?
You can't explain
That is very true.
Yes, you can. He's a friggin' cockroach. He's gonna survive the apocalypse.
Sadly.
Guys like that never go away.
Quite.
Well, to be fair, Pat, what's his name did die, so...
Deja's got a question.
Oh.
Deja has a question for Plum fucking Sterling, son. Do you think...
Is that your new middle name, is fucking?
Apparently, and my last name is Sterling. I'm part of the Plumquisition. Do you think Squeenix is going to ruin everyone's favourite games because their ability to tell a story has taken a nosedive? I'm assuming this is about the FF7 remake.
I hope.
Oh yeah, the FF7 remake where they're going to remake
they
things.
Can screw this up unless
and
they
they're not just going to polish it up.
To be completely honest, I never cared for FF7. Like I've never cared for any of the Final Fantasy. Yeah. I've never cared for any of the Final Fantasy.
I could not get into that game. Like when Aerith died, I just went, so what?
Yeah. Like
I
part
played
of it's
up until like I played the game up until like I got to like level 79 or something. And then like I just reached a point where I realized I don't care anymore. You know, because it's like you can only get up
most of the material, and then after that, just stop.
I played so much of it, and then the game was like, "Oh, you think you're done? You haven't even scratched the surface. You think you're high enough? You think you're high enough level?"
Yeah, they're like.
The content is pretty good, and the side quests are pretty fun, I must say.
For me, I've never gotten into none of the characters changed. They all just stayed exactly the same the entire time, and I just got sick of them. It was just like, there's no development, there's no change. Like, the only character who gets any real development is, like, Barrett and Yuffie. They're, like, the only ones who actually have character arcs.
And even then, Yuffie's is completely optional.
Oh, yeah.
Which is truly unfortunate.
I'm gonna throw this out there. I would have totally put up with a lot of that if like the gameplay I'd been more okay with. Final Fantasy's gameplay I have just no interest in. Good God, it's just horrible. No, I'm perfectly alright with turn-based. XCOM is fantastic. Darkest Dungeon is turn-based. I don't like the newest like Final Fantasies where they've got this sort of weird hybrid of turn-based and real-time.
The newer turn-based thing they've got is just completely stupid. Press X for autoplay, and that's it.
Yeah, I know. I love that idea. Congratulations. We know we've made a boring game. We made it so boring, we've actually given you an option to skip it. I feel like there's a problem here, guys.
Just sit here for 15 minutes, do nothing, and win.
Yeah.
My favorite Easter eggs I think I've seen in the last few years.
What was that? There was an indie game which was very surreal in its art style. Markiplier played it a bit, and there was one of the options you could do in like combat. It was very much Mother 2, like Earthbound style.
That was
and one of the
Off.
Yes.
Off. Yes, that's the one. One of the options is to just.
Man, that game is a weird game.
It's a weird game. It's
all I remember is
good game.
People ending weird the game in Skype and then just talking about how they just beat off. That's all I know about it.
It's not a bad thing to know about it.
Do chat up Bob's about it, Aqua. He'll talk your ear off about that.
My favorite game Easter egg has to be in the latest Far Cry, where you can literally beat the game within the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's
Get this. That Easter egg, according to the writers, if I remember this right, that is supposed to be the canon ending to the game. That is how it's supposed to be.
I love it.
You're supposed to get there, drop off the axes, and then just go shooting people. That is the best part about it.
That is hilarious.
I like the theory that Far Cry 3, in its entirety, is just a kid making up a really insane story about why he has a tribal tattoo.
Yep. That's my attitude on it. You know, Dad wasn't around. Like, Dad walked out, and so he's made up this really bitchin' story about why his dad wasn't there. No, it's because my dad was a freedom fighter. And, like, it's literally some kid in grade school. Some little boy with, like, a coloring book and crayon.
Other games we could talk about, not that come out, or that wasn't actually at E3, but I think it's coming out in 3 days. Arkham Knight.
I'm not sure what to think about. I haven't seen an awful lot about it, actually.
I'm
not sure.
Hopefully they don't do like they did with Origin, which I can't play it on my computer.
Like I liked both. I like both the original Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Both of those were really
amazing.
I love them both, but Arkham Origins I've not really played, but I've heard it wasn't great.
It's
same.
It's alright.
kind of meh, and I
There was
can't even
nothing
blame
special about it, I guess.
They didn't do.
Yeah, that's
Fix
it.
Yeah.
It was
didn't
essentially
feel
more of
distinct.
Arkham City, so it
Right.
was good because of that, because Arkham City was nearly flawless.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Nearly.
But again, it's more of the same, which is kind of what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
which is
so
you
it's
don't
kind
want
of
more
it's
carbon costs.
if you want more of the same, that's what you get. But if you're
Yeah.
looking for something different, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah, I did like the point Yatsu made that they are really scraping the bottom of the barrel for villains, though, at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just had to bring the Joker back anyway, because what the hell are you going to do?
He's the most interesting villain that, like, Batman has. Like,
Yeah,
he's
there's a
basically,
reason that Batman faces him so often.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Because he's probably the best villain they've got.
Yeah.
like that's
yeah,
it, like, isn't it? Like DC characters and villains, they're all like representative of a conflict. So Batman versus Joker is always justice or order versus chaos.
Yeah.
That's always their thing. But speaking of a game which is more of the same, which may or may not be a good thing, Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. That was a thing. That was Wolfenstein.
You never did tell me how you like that. I don't think you did, at least.
Wolfenstein: The New Order, I fucking love. It's a fantastic game. I will wholeheartedly recommend it to anyone who likes pointing at things and shooting them.
Especially if
Wolfenstein,
The Wolfenstein New Order was just phenomenal.
Yeah, fantastic.
It didn't bring anything new to the table, but it told a story like nothing else.
It told a fantastic story, and it also paid homage to both, like, old-style first-person shooters where it was like the original Wolfenstein, which was one of the first, where you just walk around, pick up helmets, and put them on your body for health, sort of thing.
Yeah, which was absolutely hilarious.
Rifles. Yeah, it had a combination of that and some more modern stuff, which made it seem like the story could be more relatable. But Wolfenstein: The Old Blood, I did enjoy it. I definitely came out of it as a positive experience. The gameplay was very much nothing particularly new. Which
it really just felt kind of repetitive.
It's the same. Like, it did shake up a bit when all the zombies turned up.
True.
Like, that was a little bit interesting.
That was pretty what the fuck moment.
Yeah.
Zombies.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I have to find this now.
Zombies turn up.
The story of the Old Blood is it takes place before, like, the final D-Day attack that the New Order starts with, and you are going into Castle Wolfenstein, and the Nazi lady who's running Castle Wolfenstein is super into old magic bullshit and all the magic
and all that crap.
Yeah, because she's traveling around like archaeological digs, finding old magic bullshit and trying to exploit it, sort of thing. So basically, Raiders of the Lost Ark sort of thing.
Literally. Except it's a chick.
Yeah, except it's a
Nothing
chick.
wrong with that.
And there's no real face melting that I remember. A dude does get electrocuted.
So. Yeah.
So basically, that's the premise. It's basically Nazis are trying to unleash ancient magic evil, and you are Blazkowicz, so naturally you can survive being stabbed in the eye. Like, you just whatever.
Shrug it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off. Yeah. Get jogging.
Revive.
Bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good game. I definitely enjoyed it. The gameplay was fun, if nothing particularly new.
Buddy and the dog weirded me out.
Oh, you mean...
Like, that was literally just, can we just come out and acknowledge that he's fucking his dog?
Yeah. That was a bit weird.
Yeah, that was just, like, they were just a little too fixated on that. I was like, okay, yeah, it's an interesting character thing. He has, crazy murderous dogs, but seriously, it's basically acknowledging bestiality, and that's a little too much detail.
Is it really bestiality if they're a robot?
That dog wasn't.
Like how Ox is sitting off in the corner going, okay, this one's weird.
The Old Blood is a bit odd, but I enjoyed it. The final boss was a bit disappointing.
Yeah, it's really sort of felt like, it was building up to something, and then the final boss was just kind of, that's it.
It was kind of cool. It's just the fight itself wasn't that challenging. Like, it took me it took me a couple of minutes to figure out, oh, that's how you beat him, and then I beat him. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there really wasn't much sort of strategy to it.
That's one of the things I'm hoping that Dishonored 2 fixes too.
Yes. Dishonored 1, I love. I know Dishonored 1 got like some mixed reviews from people, but I fucking loved that game. Like,
Dishonored 1 is just an awesome
game. It really was. Like, even the simple things, like the fact that the more people you kill, the more bodies you leave behind, the more the rats feed, and the more rats come, the more plague comes, and stuff like that. Like, that was just a neat little mechanic that changed the story.
Yeah, it was nice. It was one of those little things that did have really big repercussions. That was a really nice feel.
And it sort of tied into the fact that the more bodies you left behind, the more worried the people you're going after are going to be. So the more guards you have, and the more guards you have,
the more
more
challenging
sort
it's
of
going to
people
be.
you're going to have to kill.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool.
What kind of annoyed me was some of
nice.
the one I specifically remember was the guy in the brothel who, if you use the heart on him, says, well, he's terribly guilty. He's going to kill like 2 more people, and before he kills himself. And so you off him, and the game goes, oh, you're a bad person.
Yeah, that was actually there was something I was thinking like they could have fine-tuned it. I don't know how hard this would be on the technical side of it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
The thing I was thinking is you just have a really basic point value of how bad each kill would be. So obviously, like if you had civilians walking around, they would have like a high point. So if you just kill a civilian, that makes up for it. Well, and then guards, maybe there's like a little bit if they're unaware. Like it's more if they're unaware of you. Like if they're actively attacking you, then you're in self-defense at that point. So it's a little excusable. And then there's like the actual villains. So like you can look at them and go, all right, no one's gonna hate me if I. This guy.
I'm just gonna fuck him up.
Dishonored didn't really have a morality.
You wouldn't need to explicitly say that. Like you would just have to read into context.
You could have that on the coding side. You wouldn't need to actually tell the player.
Yeah, or just tell them as much as if you really think somebody deserves it, we're not going to punish you for it.
Well, what would the repercussions of that be? What would the repercussions be if someone went around killing lots of innocent people? Because Dishonored didn't really have a morality system.
There wasn't
it had a body count system. Like it had a body count system, and that was it. So.
Yeah, I think you apply that more to the guards.
Some of the supposedly less evil options really creeped me out, like the Countessa. It was like, okay, you can murder her, or you could knock her out and give her to the dude who's going to lock her up at his house and presumably make her fall in love with him via Stockholm Syndrome. Yeah, you're totally the better person for picking that option.
Well, it was a really convoluted path to get to that, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was a really hard one to get to.
What is the good option here?
Yeah.
I liked that level design. I liked the fact that you were having to figure out who your target was,
Oh,
sort of thing.
God, I loved that. I just thought that was so cool. Like, I remember seeing that.
No, the whole scene was really cool.
Bastards, but oh my God, it's good.
I was very surprised when I managed to get through that on my first time. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. What we're doing? Are they red, white, black? Yes, you. Whatever.
50-50 shot. Done.
You want to sleep with the man whose mask is the one the serial killer wears? Well, okay then. Whatever.
Sure, why not? Far be it from me to judge your fetishes, lady.
Oh,
right.
gosh.
I'm gonna have to get going.
All right, toodles, dude. We should probably wrap this up some point soon, but yeah.
True.
I love the fact that in the Lady Boyle mission, I think that's what it is, like where you try.
Yeah.
It's a different lady every time. Like it's a randomly chosen lady, so there is
that
no
is a nice touch.
Yeah, so it is not you can just go in and do it. You do have to figure it out every time.
It's pretty great.
I really like that.
Great. Yeah, Dishonored 1 was fun. Dishonored 2, I'm not sure whether it's going to be fun or not, because naturally we've only had a cinematic where some lady has like tentacle arms or something.
But I mean, come on, Plum, tentacle arms. What's not to like?
Yeah, ladies with tentacles, yeah.
Isn't that like an immediate selling point? Tentacle arms, done.
Pretty much. Everything
loves tentacles.
Yeah.
Too much anime.
What else was there from E3? There was Shenmue, which I'd never heard of before then, which apparently is a big thing.
Oh, Shenmue?
Shenmue, yeah.
Like,
Metal Gear Solid 5.
They're being really ambiguous over where the money's coming from. Like, on the one hand, it's a huge franchise. And I mean, what they're offering is just, it doesn't sound feasible. And at the same time, they're like, oh yeah, we're getting the money from Kickstarter, but then there's been some noise about, no, they're actually getting the money from Sony, and the Kickstarter is more like Castlevania, where it's like, prove there's a market, but it's just...
The thing with Shenmue is, I think the actual thing that happened is, Sony said, well, if this Kickstarter works, we will put in a few million as well. Like, if this Kickstarter is funded...
It was funded in it was like a day.
It was like 10 hours.
Yeah.
10 hours, yeah. Something like that. And apparently it's some sort of Japanese action RPG, which I've never heard of. So, yay!
It's literally
on the
progenitor of
QuickTime
events.
It's what, sorry, Ferret?
It's the progenitor of QuickTime events.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's worth $2 million, clearly.
Yeah, basically. It's this like ridiculous action RPG, but like the level of detail they put into things is just psychotic. Like,
Fair enough.
It sounds like a Japanese RPG.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the fact that they're promising on such a huge scale. It's just like you can't do that level of detail. Like you would have to ship the game on like 20 discs. It's not gonna work.
What else was there?
You can do it today. Again.
3,000.
It will be interesting if they can pull it off. It will be an awesome game to get.
Yeah.
Yes, it will. If that's your kind of game, it will be an amazing game. But I mean, for a lot of people, that's not their thing.
Aye.
Then there was the new Metal Gear Solid that's coming out.
Yeah. Why does Snake have a horn growing out of his head? Has that been explained?
Japan?
Yeah, it's actually a crossover. I'm gonna tell you.
They're gonna tie it into Kingdom Hearts. He's gonna help
Snake
explore.
I was gonna say like a crossover with My Little Pony.
Oh my god, yeah.
He's becoming
It's
a
just
unicorn.
somebody's really, really well-funded commissioned fic.
Speaking of Kingdom Hearts, I hope they don't put the Frozen in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh my god.
Because you know damn well they're going to add in Let It Go to that somehow. And if they do
There
that,
were
it will
so
make
many
things
better
worse.
songs in that movie.
There were. But yeah.
Like
I'd rather
the
see
fucking
Big Bear.
opening song, for Christ's sake.
Yes.
I love that track.
I quite
I
enjoyed
mean, I'm not saying that Frozen is a bad movie or anything. It's just
It's been
overhyped.
overhyped.
yes.
Yeah, like I like it because oh my god, it's a female protagonist, and oh my god, it's sibling love is the thing that saved them rather than romantic love, and the fact that he's like seriously, you've known him for 20 minutes and you're in love, you're a moron.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was really nice. That made me really happy.
I forget. I don't know if I ever made a post. I think I had a post like half planned about it. Why I didn't particularly care for it, especially compared to Cabin in the Woods, because both of them I felt like were kind of poking fun at their own genres. Well, Cabin in the Woods absolutely was doing
I
it.
would say Cabin in the Woods was unabashedly making fun of it.
Yeah, but the reason it
I have yet to see that
had
movie.
sincerity about it, because at the same time as Cabin in the Woods was poking fun at horror movies, it was still conceivably a horror movie. They were still it was still taking itself seriously. It was just kind of being jokey about it and all Joss
it was
Whedon about it, I
joking
guess.
about parts of it, but it was still genuinely scary.
There were parts of Frozen where I could like see the director behind the screen like looking pointedly at the audience and winking.
Yeah.
That whole thing where she's like, "You can't marry somebody you just met." Pause for comedic effect.
Laugh track
it
here.
was just like that's a little heavy-handed.
Yeah, no, it came up a little heady. Especially, I think the comparison I was going to use was Sunset Overdrive when that came out. I really didn't care for how that was.
I thought it was funny. Like sometimes when I got a kick out of it.
It's a video game. Who needs to have like a plot that makes sense? And, like I was like in the cutscenes they were saying stuff like that. It's like, how can you hear us talking without mics? Who cares? It's a video game, and I hated that.
Yeah, it was like, oh, we're so funny, we're being self-referential, and no, you're not really. Like, I still thought it was a fun game, but yeah, it was definitely a little too,
on the nose, yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Other things that were announced.
If it's in moderation, but over the top like that.
This was the whole plot of the damn game was let's make fun
over
of
the
video
top like
games.
that, it fails.
The LARPers were pretty hilarious.
The what, sorry?
The LARPers.
Oh, right, yeah,
They were funny, especially what's her name. It kept switching jobs.
Other things announced at E3 that I don't particularly care about is Gears 5.
Oh god.
They
actually look like totally normal people.
Yeah, that was one of the things. I'm going to freely admit I enjoyed Gears of Wars 1, 2, and 3 because they were dumb shooters with big men and shotguns and giblets. Lots of giblets, chainsaws on your guns, fantastic. It was dumb. People got bayoneted all over the place. Fine.
But that's the point. It's dumb fun. They weren't trying to be intelligent. They weren't trying to make a point. They were just supposed to be stupid fun.
Big burly men blowing up alien bugs, men called locusts who may have been from Earth but not quite. So whatever. Who cares where they come from?
They tried to shoehorn a storyline about his dad, and it was just like nobody cares about his dad. We just want to blow shit up.
Yeah, that was a bit weird. But still, Gears 1, 2, and 3 all had enjoyable gameplay, and they didn't. A lot of the time, they didn't take themselves too seriously. What you mentioned was with Marcus's father was a bit.
Yeah, it was like guys.
But then again, Gears 1's story was just batshit. Like none of it made any sense.
The story was just all over the place.
The story was like bare bones as you could.
Yeah, it was literally there to tie together the missions. That was just
like the story was literally here is a gun with a chainsaw. Those are aliens. Have fun. Why do you need more than that?
pretty much. But then Gears 4 came around and it was trying to focus on Baird of all people, who is like the least likable main character of the group.
Oh, is that Vengeance or whatever?
I think so.
I think
yeah,
Judgment
Gears
or
of something.
whatever.
But, yeah, like
I don't know. For me, it ended on 3. So.
Yeah, for me it ended on 3. Like Marcus is the main character. Everyone knows him. Dom's the cool guy because he has a wife who he loves. The Coltrane's the fucking Coltrane. Everyone fucking loves the Coltrane. He's the fucking Coltrane. Dizzy's ridiculous. Dizzy's a cowboy with chainsaws. He's fucking great.
Yeah,
Baird is just an asshat techie guy. Like that's his thing, you know. He doesn't even get the chainsaw gun. Like whenever you play that guy in campaign, he just gets the locust gun instead. Like he doesn't even have the cool shit.
Oh, he gets the hammer burst or whatever.
Yeah, he gets the hammer burst. So fuck it. I don't care about that guy.
Yeah, it's literally you give us a shitty gun with this character and you expect us to like him?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah. And then Gears 5 has been nuts. I've just fuck it. I don't care.
Are you still gonna make me give a shit about characters I hate? No. All right, hold on.
I don't even know who it's focusing on this time. I just saw Gears 5 and okay, whatever.
All right,
whatever.
It's not like they could do much more with it. I mean, if in the third game it ended, the locusts are gone.
Yeah, the fourth one was a prequel, wasn't it?
I think
I think so. I haven't played it yet.
Easily, dip into alternate universe or surprise, they're not really gone, or
they could just do more like prequel stuff.
There's fragments of them. Like most of them are gone, but there's still a few over in that place over there. Go fight them.
Better go clear it
out.
out.
They survive. Some contrived thing.
Is if they go for that, I'm just going to call it immediate bullshit because Gears 3 ended with a weapon that literally destroys all of their DNA across the planet.
Yeah,
that was how Gears 3 ended.
They weren't all on that planet, and then
they were under
Some
the
of them
planet.
had mutated DNA.
Yeah, they were
beyond good and evil shit going on there.
Maybe this time you are.
Beyond Good and Evil is fucking amazing.
Oh, it is.
There was one thing in Gears 3 which surprised me at how actually in depth it was. One of the things you do in Gears 3, one of the big things in the Gears universe is the fact that these locusts are popping out the ground. The main government's flipping its shit, and they start bombing their own cities in order to try and contain these asshats popping up from the ground.
Because that always works out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And in Gears 3, you actually visit a community of people who survived these orbital strikes. But on the way there, you have to make your way through the ruins of the destroyed city, and it's full of what were people that have now been turned to statues of ash because they just got flash burnt into ash immediately as soon as the orbital strikes came.
So it's like visiting Hiroshima?
That was a good level. That was
a good level because it was atmospheric and it was all very thematic and stuff. But the best thing about it was if you actually the first time I went through it, I didn't realize this was a thing, but the first time I went through it, I stepped around all the ash people.
Oh yeah, if you run into them.
Yeah, if you run into them, if you're knocking over the corpses of these dead people, everyone in the survival group thinks you're a dick because you're a dick. You're just desecrating the dead bodies that you killed, you dick. But if you step around them, you're showing respect for the dead, and they're like, oh, I guess you're not completely bad. I mean, you still killed them, you dick, but at least you've got some respect for the dead, and they treat you better.
That's really cool.
It was a nice little detail. Yeah, nice little detail. Also, Core is now online.
Gasp! Are we gonna get a
little
core
things
so
like that?
Sit and lurk in the corner
and
get drowned out by all of us? Nah,
yeah, lovely. Or he can queue up for World of Warcraft again.
Oh, perfect.
Mass Effect. That was announced. Mass Effect, what was it? Oh god, I can't remember the name of it. Andromeda or whatever it is. Yeah. Whatever the name of the nearest galaxy to us, that's what it's called.
Andromeda.
Which is really
interesting.
Yeah, which is potentially huge for Mass Effect nerds.
Get ending again.
But how?
Mass Effect 3's ending wasn't great, but this is
potentially.
Just
the amount of backlash about
it. Are they just going to go back and say that ending never happened, or what? How
I mean,
is it
maybe they're doing a prequel
universe or something else?
I mean, what were the 3 endings at Mass Effect 3? One of them was destroy all technology, everyone stuck on Earth, or whatever. The other one was take control of the Reapers, which had all this sort of fan theories about how that's, you're submitting to the Reapers and they take over you. And the third one was like synthesis, where everyone became... everyone became sort of cybernetic a bit.
But the thing of it is, it's like blows up all the mass relays, no matter which one you touch.
But that's the thing. And the trailer for Andromeda starts with a guy picking which star he wants to travel to, and he goes there without a mass relay. That's how the trailer
so it's
starts.
Not meant to be a prequel?
I don't think I would be very surprised if it was a prequel.
I don't
The
know.
fact that
it might be worth checking out just to see how they pull off.
It's got Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash is the music for the
trailer.
Yeah,
I do remember seeing that trailer. That was a great trailer.
Really?
Which I could say just because it had Johnny Cash in it.
That basically was my attitude. Johnny Cash started and I went, fuck, I like this trailer already.
But yeah, like, that's the thing, like, the fact that it's called Mass Effect Andromeda, or whatever it is, like, it's named after the nearest galaxy to the Milky Way, so you've got to assume that's playing a part in it somehow. Like, have they managed to get to another galaxy or some shit? Like, because that's a pretty big step up in the Mass Effect universe.
And that just
I'm interested to know as well how they're going to tie in, the fact that there were 3 different endings. So how are they going to sort of, combine that to a new start?
Unless they do like Mass Effect 2 did and allowed you to pick how you played the game. Because they did some of the games had this like interactive comic, and you could basically pick 3 key events in the first game that would allow you to dictate how the second game would go.
This is true, and I mean certainly they've shown they don't mind doing that extra legwork.
But then again, they could just totally go what Fallout does, where they just pick a canon ending, like the Reapers got blown up. Like,
This is what officially happened. If you did something else, that's fine.
Yeah, they have gone on record stating that is a completely separate thing in terms of like Shepard makes no appearance whatsoever.
Ooh.
So, like it's not another Shepard.
No more FemShep, darn.
I'm okay with this. Yeah, FemShep was good.
As long as you can like create your character in a similar way,
now they can create
that would be alright.
Male and female characters.
If you're stuck with a
Mass Effect is a great game in it simply like in a lot of ways, but simply in the fact that the way it treats like male and female characters, because both like who's the voice actress for FemShep? Jenny something?
Jennifer Hale.
Jennifer Hale.
Yeah. She's pretty damn great.
Voice actor.
She's the female VA who's taken over the world.
Pretty much.
I like Mark Meer in terms of the fact that he's a cool guy, and a lot of the stuff he says as male Shep are pretty fucking funny.
Yes.
But in terms of actual voice acting performance, I prefer FemShep. Like I just think she does it
hands down.
I've heard.
So
Jennifer Hale is just amazing as a voice actor.
Yeah, she's a very good actress.
I'm just waiting to find out who will voice the male and female character in Andromeda. I'm gonna guess Troy Baker for the male, and Troy Baker for the female.
I will back that horse.
Garrus, they'll probably have to recast him, so that'll probably be Troy Baker.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's the one thing.
Rex. Rex. I could definitely see Troy Baker doing Rex.
One's gonna go suck. There's no Garrus.
Like, wow. Way to cancel my pre-order.
Jeez, way to piss all over the parades.
I want to see what happened to Rex. Like in Mass Effect 1, Rex was literally a bouncer at a strip club. And he ended king of his species, the first one to bone and actually have kids in generations. And he's the guy who united the Krogan clans and cured the genophage. That's a bit of a fucking step up from bouncer.
I mean, that's just name the species after yourself. Yeah, we're the Rex now.
Yeah. We are now Clan Rex.
Yeah, we're renaming ourselves. You're naming yourselves after me, and everyone goes, okay.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Planet or not.
Dear. I mean, like a lot of characters had similar things like that. Like you had Tali, who started off as like a nobody on their pilgrimage and ended up one of the like 5 admirals who first person to breathe the air of the homeworld and united the Geth and shit like that. So just, fuck it. I want to see what happened to them. I want to see how Mass Effect 4 turns them into like edgy supervillains or something like that. Like.
Oh God, yes. Except, of course, Rex is just going to be singing with an ice pack on his crotch, ordering everyone around. He's like, I can't do anything, guys. I broke my dick.
Yeah. The one bit of DLC.
There's nothing left. It just shoots little puffs of air.
Grogan's a ball, you know that's like the one piece of DLC I will recommend to everyone is the Mass Effect 3 DLC. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically
Citadel.
Yeah, this Citadel DLC. That's the one, right?
Because talk about the one where they all just come back together and fuck shit up for a little while.
Yeah, like there's the one mission where literally everyone turns up and they just start laughing at each other as they're fucking killing mercs, which is funny. But you also get to throw a party, and Rex and Grunt at this party literally just go Shepherd, Shepherd, Shepherd for the entire thing. It's fucking great.
Don't you actually sit there and converse with them and just say their names?
Shepherd, like one of the things, like you set up the party. Yeah, you set up the party and you can do various things, like you can turn up the music and serve snacks and stuff like that. But like at one point, like Grunt and Rex are just talking to each other like, I'm drinking, but it's not a drinking game, and doing like things like that. Yeah. And you sit down and they go, Shepherd, Shepherd, Rex, Grunt, Shepherd, Shepherd, and it's just that on an infinite loop. You can sit there forever.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
The best thing.
It's great.
I seriously gotta do this now.
Yeah, it's.
I started the aspect. I know how it ends, and it's kind of like when I was watching Breaking Bad, and I love the show and I want to see more, and I just forgot to watch it for several months. I do that. Like I will just completely.
Yeah, no, I've totally done that. I'll get I'll get into a show or a video game or something, and I'll just play it obsessively, and then I'll just put it down one day and completely forget.
Yep.
It's like my brain just goes like, I'm erasing all of this now. And I come back to it like, oh my god, why did I stop playing this? I don't know.
I just restarted Game of Thrones. This is my third attempt, and at no point did I ever like not want to watch more Game of Thrones. But this is like my third attempt to actually like get caught up.
I've done that with Squirrels.
I will say something about Game of Thrones is what.
Where I will just like I will start reading it. Though the reason I stop is because it's just so intense. I'm like I need to take a break now and like reconnect with reality for a while, and then I'll come back to it.
I absolutely love what I've seen of the Game of Thrones TV show. I've only seen the first 2 series, which I'll just preface it by saying that. But what I've seen is great. That said, while I absolutely love Martin's thing of where he's not afraid to kill a good guy if the story is just like, yeah, there's no way he's going to survive. Like, if it's a situation in which a good guy is probably going to die, he just dies. Yeah, and I will admire him for being able, for having the balls to kill off main characters. However, I've stopped caring because all the characters I cared about are dead, and I don't want to trust any new ones because they're going to die in 5 chapters.
And that's where the problem is. Like, he is sort of willing to spend
through all 5 books, and I mean, yeah, main characters die, lots of people die, but he keeps a lot of other people alive. The new characters that get introduced are pretty cool, so I mean, books, I'm pretty happy with it.
It's definitely a your mileage may vary thing. It very much depends on how willing you are to just like accept that all these people are dying. Like, I was about to say when X died, I was really upset, but I'm not going to spoil it. So whatever.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Spoiler alert! Winter's coming. I mean, I kind of ruined it there.
I blame your delivery. It was just so perfect.
I think it's really interesting that how much the TV show is actually differing from the books. Like, there are some major changes that are happening in the TV show.
Just fan fiction with a really high budget now.
Yeah, basically. Pretty much.
On the other hand, I do like that they're acknowledging that, you know, stuff that works in a book doesn't necessarily work in TV, and that they're working with him to make sure that it does actually.
For example, that whole thing where Daenerys was 14 when she married Khal Drogo, really can't show that one on TV.
That'll end in a bad situation.
I do like that they got.
I did love the point in season. I think it was like near the end of season 3 or beginning of 4 or something, where Sansa, who's like clearly 18, 20 years old, looks Cersei dead in the eyes and goes, "I'm 14." No, you're not. You weren't 14 when the show started.
Yeah.
Like, Arya actually looks like 12, 13-ish. I can believe that.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, looks like a 12, 14-year-old boy, but I guess that's the point.
But I mean, you know.
Yeah,
that's what she's going for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But it's true that the mediums are different. Like, books are very much different from films, and I think Game of Thrones has adapted that better than, say, The Hobbit, which I just couldn't stand. Like, The Hobbit films.
The Hobbit returned one book into 3 movies. I feel bad for it.
Not only
that,
how do you do that? How do you bring 3 movies at, like, what?
Well, to be
fair,
The Hobbit was pretty dense.
Yeah,
The Hobbit had a lot of stuff going on.
The Hobbit did have a lot of stuff going on, but like, even then, it didn't have 3 films worth of stuff going on. A lot of the stuff that takes place...
Maybe 2.
If you stretch it,
the films also went into more detail.
Just because there were so many story arcs.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many characters. I could see 2 films.
Yeah,
but
there wouldn't be 2 massive films, but yeah, like, but the problem is with the Hobbit films is you've got all this stuff about like the White Orc and stuff that didn't really happen at all. He's not a character. Like,
he's a combination of 2 characters that were mentioned. Yeah. Like, one of them was mentioned once, and the other one led an army at the Battle of the 5 Armies.
Yeah.
And like, they combined that character into one and gave him a bigger role.
They invented all this stuff about like his grudge match with like Thorin or whatever it is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He didn't exist in the books, and he's the primary antagonist of the first movie.
The difference, I get that, but it honestly didn't bother me.
Like, again, it's very much a your mileage may vary thing.
Oh, absolutely.
I absolutely loved the Hobbit book as a kid. Like, one of the vivid memories from when I was like 6 or something was like there was a fire drill in school, and everyone was walking out, and I was out on the playground as everyone was lining up. I was reading The Hobbit on the playground as there was a fire drill going on. I was like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna read more about Black Arrow and Smaug. I read it like 5 times when I was a kid. I was into that shit.
It is a really good book.
It's a good book, but like.
Yeah. Like, I remember reading The Hobbit and really enjoying it, like, you know, just reading it. My college friends would go, oh, it's really good, and someone would go, oh, yeah, here's the next book, and just starting and going, this is garbage. Like, this is nothing like what I read. What the hell?
Fellowship, I was not a fan of it.
I trusted you.
I liked Lord of the Rings. I'm just going to be that guy who likes everything.
That's fair. I could not get into it.
Yeah. First of all, I'm going to preface this by saying the movies are fantastic. Yeah. But the Fellowship of the Rings book is easily my least favorite book out of all of the Tolkien books, because there's just so much shit where they're just walking around in the forest.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true.
Have you read the Silmarillion?
Fellowship of the Ring had a lot of piddle farting around.
Yeah, and all that stuff with Tom Bombadil. Like, I know people have got all these theories
he was
about
cool, but like we didn't need that much. To be cool.
Like, there's all these theories about how he's basically Loki or something like that, and I don't fucking care. He's a guy who walks around in his underpants singing songs about flowers. He shouldn't be in fucking Lord of the Rings.
That's the definition of a hippie right there.
Yeah. Then he had, like, in the movie, didn't they turn Radagast into some sort of like stoned out animal lover or something like that?
Yeah, I think
so. He didn't really do much in the book. I don't remember.
No, he tried
to stretch it out.
I think he was spoken of, but like he was never actually like.
He didn't have a speaking role.
Think there was a scene in there.
Was there? I think in that scene he was just spoken of. Like Gandalf talked about him.
Yes, I remember that. I definitely remember Gandalf talking about like Radagast the Brown, but I just don't remember.
And then he talked about like getting information from Radagast about the sorcerer or the necromancer or whatever.
And there was also two blue mages mentioned at one point.
Yeah, there are 2 blue wizards that no one's ever named them. I don't think.
They disappeared off into the ether like before the film started. So
they went out for smokes.
Yeah.
Never came back.
BRB. So yeah. Dear, but yeah, like this ties in neatly to what Aquaman was talking about earlier with his video game novel Harmony. Yeah, full circle.
Oh, we're not done with it yet, are we?
No, we're back to the original tangent, and it only took what?
This is how it should be.
Look, I'm on a panel with J.P. Jaxie. He finished his. He did it better than me.
He hasn't finished his. He's still got 2 more.
I'm going to move on.
I'm
going to lean over, shake his hand, whisper Ruby sends a regard, and stab him in the fucking throat. Anyway.
This seems like an acceptable plan. I wish you luck with it. Because to be honest, I think his plan is to come up to you and go, "I am so sorry."
No, I'm messing with him. We have actually had conversations. We both try to say the other's better than either of us is. So,
I'm gonna have to be that guy and say that we're pretty much over time pretty substantially. So I'm going to say we're gonna have to cut this short, but we shall end it with just a quick plug because I believe Aqua, it's the crossover fanfiction panel that you're on at BronyCon, correct?
It is. I think I'm on a few, and it's kind of up in the air. I'll be on that one for sure.
So you'll probably be on that one at least.
Yeah.
If it
you'll be on that
gets
one,
accepted.
So,
well, we don't know. It's going to
happen.
Basically, all the panels have been accepted. They just need finalized details at the moment, don't they? So we've got Aqua with his crossover panels, C Squared, myself, and Ferriton. A bunch of C Squared isn't.
Wait, you're coming to BC?
I was going to say, wait,
I don't know if I'm on panels.
What's the problem? No, we had too many people.
C Squared's not on panels, I don't think. But Ferriton and
myself.
I
can sub in. Like if someone needs me to sub in, I can just show up.
We're both on editing things. Are you on something else, Ferret?
Not at the moment.
I think you might be confusing me with.
I'm on.
Yeah.
Right, so, I got crossovers DQD. I'm fairly sure I'm on romance with Book Player.
Yeah, I think you are.
No comedy with.
I should be on romance.
Bag of Viking and Gary. Oh, and Skyrider. We have Skyrider on that. That's gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
C Squared on the romance one is just no.
Don't
do it. Don't do drugs, kids.
Do you know what happened to that friend of yours, Skeeter, who was going for a world building panel or something like that? Did that get accepted?
I don't know.
That might be worth checking.
I'm gonna have to check on that.
Figuring out.
Yeah.
Who was
it's probably worth figuring out.
The guy who wrote the 6th Pegasus or whatever it's called.
Yeah, 24th Pegasus.
24th Pegasus.
Oh,
nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got all them and the do's and don'ts of fanfic. So, loads of fanfic panel things are going on at BronyCon, so that should be very interesting.
Not quite as much as ever free, but hey.
Is it not?
Yeah, we're not trying to compete.
I think Quills and Sofas makes up for it.
Yeah,
very much so.
Yeah.
Still, is it true that you're going to be coming over, Plum, to BC this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely there.
Yeah, he's going to be on a panel, but he's going to telecommute. We're just going to set up, a Skype cam.
It's going to make this better.
Skirts did that once, I think.
For a
I'm
while.
definitely going to make a mannequin for him.
Yeah.
I have an Arsenal shirt over there I can put on.
I can bring my dummy.
I got some rugby shorts I can make you wear.
Oh, perfect. We'll get a wig. It'll be great.
Great, yeah.
Fantastic.
I'll get one of those fake teeth things and knock all but 3 of them out.
For accuracy.
Fantastic.
Put some shandy in your hand.
So BronyCon plans are happening. For those, for everyone who's left watching this, just before we wrap up, BronyCon, spend all your time in the Quills and Sofas room. It's fucking great. It's basically film fiction.
That's where all the really funny shit happens.
Pretty much.
And there's also the rest of the convention, but it's a bunch of lame people and I don't know, some assholes who work on the show or something.
There's the money vortex.
Really, who you want to hang out with?
Hey,
is the
everyone
writers
knows about that.
Come
don't
join
have inferiority complexes. None of us.
Come join the cool kids at Quills and Sofas. Fantastic.
The impromptu panels that spring up.
Yeah.
The Twilight Shipfic folder.
Oh god, I hope we do that again this
had
year.
impromptu writing workshops. That was
like in 2013, the year that I went, the Descendants just took over a table and started discussing the relationship between Spike and Twilight. It was great. It was fucking fantastic.
I want to believe that TD just started talking about that to no one, and then a crowd formed.
To be honest, I could see that.
That would just add on to his mythos, I think.
Do we know is TD coming this year?
I hope he is.
I hope so.
Oh, I hope he is.
I'll make all of us look better by comparison.
I remember people talking about him being on an under-17s panel or something like that.
I was going to mention.
No, that was a panel. Couch and I wanted to do a couple of under-17 panels, do an art one and do a writing one, and I don't think they actually panned out, unfortunately, because we basically felt there's a lot of stuff for the really little kids, but there wasn't really a lot sort of for the teens who were coming in and the younger group. So we really wanted to do an art panel and a writing panel, but I don't think they actually.
I really wanted to sit next to Couch as he took submissions from a bunch of 15-year-olds in their OCs. I really wanted to witness that happen. So many stories of going to meetups, and the one I'll always remember is the one of somebody like a girl completely serious, like talking his ear off about her OC that was like Applejack's cousin, I think an Alicorn, I think somebody related to somebody else too, the color mate, and he's sitting there with just like this deadpan expression, just trying to get away from everything.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to see if it would happen again.
Oh God.
So yes, come to Quills and Sofas and bring all your Alicorn OCs that we can send to Couch.
Yes, because he loves to draw them and listen about them too.
If Colton Gardner shows up, we'll make him write a good story about them.
Excellent.
Oh, I wish. I don't think he's coming.
This is the plan. Like, it's no longer the Quills and Sofas, it's the Quills and Alicorns room. That's what it is.
We'll rename
Fantastic.
it.
Isn't